Welcome to Too Many Tabs, the only podcast where a husband sits across from his wife who may or may not be AI.
Yeah.
Who knows? Nobody knows if you're actually real.
Yeah.
But he sits across from his wife and he says, "Wife, what have you been doing this week?"
Everything.
Everything?
All the things.
But specifically for the podcast.
Oh,
what have you been
I've
doing?
been writing a book club episode.
Because this is a book club episode.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? You excited for this book?
Oh, I'm so excited to tell you about this book.
What is you most excited about to tell me about with this book?
I'm excited because so many people have inboxed me on my Instagram account and been like, I can't wait to hear Perlman's response to this.
Well, I can't wait to hear all about it on this week's episode of Too Many Tabs.
Too many frauds and too many scammers that we wish weren't real. Too many cons and too many spammers, and we're starting to feel like we've got too many tabs open. It's too many tabs. Remember to smile.
That's right, Mrs. P. We're back for another fun-filled episode where you and I sit across and we do stuff.
Yeah.
And we sit in our little room.
We talk about things.
We talk about so many things. And soon we won't be sitting across from each other in a room because
why?
soon I'm going to be on the road.
Oh, right.
For some random dates where I'm going to do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Where I go to different places.
You're going to go sit on a plane.
I'm going to sit on a plane.
Sit in a Uber or Lyft or a cab.
First I'm going to sit in a car.
Yeah.
It will take me to an airport,
Yeah.
Philadelphia International Airport.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sit in an airport.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be like...
Pay too much for snacks.
Pay way too much for snacks. But did they call my... Oh, I'm not in that group. I'm not in that... Okay. And then I'm going to get on the plane
Yep.
with my very good friend Satoyo,
Yes.
who was opening for me. And I just bought our plane tickets.
So who's been on the podcast?
Who's been on the podcast.
Yeah.
Very funny guy. And then I'm going to get on that plane, and then the plane is going to take off.
Yep.
And then hopefully land.
Fingers crossed.
All
Check
of
out
them.
for the Boeings.
I looked. There were no options that weren't Boeing because fucking monopolies are great. And then I'm going to land. And then I'm going to wait in the airport for an Uber.
Yep.
Because I'm not checking a bag because
No.
I'm not going to be there long enough.
Nope.
And then we're going to go directly to the comedy club.
Yep.
Some days we'll go to a hotel first and then
No.
wake up and have breakfast.
No.
Some of them are all over the place.
Nope.
And then I'm going to do the comedy.
You're gonna go you're gonna give everybody the tee-hee-hees.
A lot of
and the ha-has.
tee-hee-hees in Portland, Oregon,
Yep.
Buffalo, New York, and Chandler, Arizona, which is outside of Phoenix.
Okay.
So that's where I'm going to be all throughout June. And all of these are in the link tree and in the show notes and all those different things on all my different forms of social media.
Great.
So that's all out there.
Perfect.
And one thing that we need to talk about
What?
a little bit is there has been a change that has happened in the last month.
What's that?
We've been doing it, but we haven't really been like promoting it.
Oh, right.
Which is that these are being recorded on video now.
Yes, they are.
And I've been posting them every Tuesday to our Patreon.
Yep.
Because people are like, I want a video version of the podcast. And it's like, hello, here it is.
Yeah, you can watch Alex's live reactions
To
the
what
things
you're
we're
telling
talking
me.
about.
But
Yeah.
mainly to what you're telling me.
Yeah, usually.
It's my live reaction to that and to our Patreon's names.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so I've been posting those every Tuesday on Patreon.
Yep.
Patreon.com/Pearlmania500 or on pearlmania500.net.
For the early access crowd.
For the early access crowd. And then on Fridays, I've been posting them on YouTube.
Yeah.
Full of ads. Chock full of ads. I'm stuffing it with ads. If I got to put something on fucking
Baby
YouTube.
formula is very expensive.
No, it's more about the fact that YouTube, famously, I've been talking to a few people about this with like the transition from TikTok to all these different places. Like if TikTok goes away, YouTube is typically for boys,
Yeah.
and you have to really fight your algorithm to make sure you don't end up in like the Andrew Tate, Ben Shapiro,
Yeah.
SJWs getting triggered by Captain Marvel version of YouTube. And so because of that, I'm just stuffing it with ads.
Yeah.
So, if you have YouTube Premium, then that's not a problem for you. Or you can join our Patreon for $5 a month or for the $30 Fed tier. Anyway, with that, I think we're ready for this week's episode.
Guess what?
What?
I'm so excited.
You're so
we already
excited?
talked about it.
I know.
But it's a book club episode.
It is a book club
This
episode.
is my bread and butter right here, baby.
I know. This is your favorite thing to do in the world. You've been reading this book, and then you've taken copious amounts of notes about it.
Yeah.
And you're very excited to tell me all about this book,
Yes.
which is a book that everyone voted for. And can you hand me the book?
Yeah,
Hand me
here,
the book.
take the book.
I'm going to hold it up.
Go ahead.
On camera,
Look at
it's
that.
Rachel Harrison's Black Sheep.
Yep.
Right
This was
here.
voted on through the Patreon.
Yep.
And it won. I don't want to say like it didn't crush everybody. It was almost it was spread. It was a spread. Okay?
It was a pretty big spread between three different books, and but this one did win.
This is the one. She pulled it off in the last minute there.
Yeah, and a lot of people were super hype about it, and you've said to me all week as I've seen you writing out your notes, just like buckle up, bucko.
Yes.
And then I've been like sitting with the baby watching Sesame Street.
Yeah, you've been watching Cookie Monster.
Yeah,
and I've been just giggling.
This is a Cookie Monster house, by the way.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, Oscar the Grouch, but Cookie Monster.
But no, I'm telling you, the boy is locked in.
I know he loves
the boy locked in on
Who
Cookie Monster.
Who doesn't love cookies?
He locked in. There's an episode of Sesame Street where Cookie Monster, it's a Mother's Day episode,
Yeah.
and it's all about Cookie Monster making a Mother's Day present for his mom,
Yeah.
Mrs. Cookie Monster.
Of course.
And it's too cute, number
Yeah.
one. And number two, the boy just giggled for a half hour straight. And I was like, there's no way. This is his guy. Cookie is his guy.
Cookie's his man. Who can blame him?
But this episode
Yeah.
is Black Sheep. So we are going to take a break. Mm-hmm. We're going to hit our first bumper here. If you don't like ads, you can get everything ad free at pearlmania500.net, or you can just wait.
What?
I hit the wrong button.
We don't. Nothing is alleged here.
Nothing is alleged because this is a book.
Yeah.
This is a work of fiction that you're about to tell me
Exactly.
about. And what I was trying to hit was this button
Let's go.
because I'm excited.
Yeah, you
It's
should
been a
be.
month. We do a one book club a month.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And we're ready.
And it's going to be longer.
Yeah.
We like to tell people, like, buckle in. It's a
Yeah.
longer episode. Somebody told me that they take their dog for 3.5-mile walks.
Oh.
And they're like, they like the 2-hour episodes because they can get 2 walks out of one episode.
Oh,
And
I
was
like that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's a good way to time it.
Okay, so listen.
Okay.
For the listeners who may be new and haven't listened to a book club before.
Or watched a book club
Whoa, it might be your first time watching a book club.
Yeah.
Okay, so the way that this happened, book club episodes,
Yeah.
is that oftentimes I read a fiction book.
Mm-hmm.
And then I close the fiction book when I've completed it. And then I turn to my husband and I say, "You'll never believe what I just read." And then I isolate him in a room and I tell him exactly what the entire book was about because he doesn't read fiction. And I just make him listen to me. And then I said, what if we did that as a podcast episode?
And I said, I don't like, and then she hit record.
Yeah, I said, put your headphones on. We're doing this.
Yeah.
And so this is my warning. Number one, this is what we're doing.
Yep.
And number two, I am going to spoil this book.
Yes.
I am going to explain in detail through my perspective what this book was to Alex and see if he likes it or not. And so, yeah, if you've been thinking about reading Rachel Harrison's Black Sheep, maybe come back to this episode.
Yeah.
If you want to hear me discuss and explain this book and you don't want to read it, I got an episode for you.
Yeah.
Are you ready to get started?
Yep.
Okay. So, spoiler alert. I just wrote a note here. Make sure you let people know about spoilers.
Make people know about spoilers.
Okay, so this book opens and we're introduced to our main character. Her name is Vesper. Vesper, that's our gal's name.
Okay.
Okay. So the opening of the book, she is pissed off and mad because she is currently singing the birthday song for the 5th fucking time. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to curse because of YouTube.
No, you can curse. I think, we're past 7. I don't know how the seconds are.
Okay.
I've been told, though, don't curse a lot in the beginning.
Okay, well, I'll try not to curse anymore.
Okay.
So she's...
No, you can curse now.
Oh,
we're
okay.
past. There's like a certain. If you watch YouTube, you'll notice people bleep stuff at the beginning,
and then they let it.
And then they let it ride later. But if it's like an opening clip, they always bleep it. That's the whole thing. Because the advertisers, you gotta be advertiser friendly. Okay, so Vesper is she singing the birthday song?
She's singing the birthday song
for the
at
5th
her
time.
Restaurant job.
Oh,
because she has a shitty waitressing job.
Okay,
and
so
she's
a
singing "Happy
server.
Birthday." Yeah, and she's pissed, as one is, anyone who's ever.
What type of restaurant is it?
So I wrote a note here. She works at a restaurant called Shorty's, which I imagine to be the Bennigan's version of a sports bar.
Yeah, I was gonna say TGI Fridays.
Yeah,
Bennigan's, TGI, they're all the same.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a class of corporate eatery from especially the 90s that I call shit on the walls restaurants.
Yeah, exactly.
So Chili's, TGI Fridays, Bennigan's. All of them. And you would
used-
go into them and it was like, what do we put on the wall? And they would yell tchotchkes. But I was like,
Stuff
it's
and
just
things.
stuff and things.
Stuff and
And there
things.
was rarely ever a theme. My favorite shit on the walls restaurant, though.
Okay.
It's always going to be bubblegum shrimp.
No.
Because
Absolutely not.
Because everything is Forrest Gump themed.
We could do a whole episode about how angry that restaurant made me.
I loved sitting next to
I was so mad the whole time.
You had to like walk past like the guys who didn't survive Vietnam wall.
There's like frame pictures of Jenny right before she dies of AIDS.
It wasn't AIDS, actually. I think apparently it was like hepatitis B.
Okay.
But they later like made it like a big deal. Like it wasn't AIDS. It felt like AIDS.
It felt like AIDS.
When you're watching Forrest Gump and she's like, Mom is sick. And he's like, is his brain like mine? That whole scene. And then she's dead.
And then they're like, oh, do you want sauce with that? Because that's written on the fucking menu.
Yeah.
Okay? The theme of the restaurant is that movie. It's insane. It's insane that someone pitched it.
The best. No, hold on. Wait. My absolute favorite part is that run Forrest run and stop Forrest stop signs to flag people down for drinks. If you have never been to America, because I know we have foreign listeners.
Oh, no.
If you have never been to America and you are about to travel to the United States, first thing, don't.
Why would you do that?
Second thing, what I will tell you is pick a place that has a Bubba Gump shrimp.
No, don't.
They are only in locations that are designed to baffle you.
It is.
And you're going to go in there and you'll be like, what?
Worst. I could break down.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
Why is chicken on the menu at Bubba Gump Shrimp Company?
Exactly.
Why is chicken on the menu?
Oh my God.
Okay. All right.
my
So
God.
she's working
Oh
at
my
Shorty's. We're so off.
I'm
We're
sorry.
so off.
Bennigan's would be my favorite, which is why I think I put Bennigan's.
Bennigan's has been
You
out
know
of
what?
business for a long time.
No, but it was my favorite when we were young.
Yeah, Red
When I
Lobster's going now too.
They're all Applebee's. They're all going.
Yeah, not Applebee's. Applebee's is going to hold on.
I thought, was it Chili's? Chili's is the one that's going.
Well, they're all doing restructurings now. They're all cutting down.
Well.
But I will say,
Okay.
real quick, Applebee's will survive.
Sure.
Out of all of it. No, listen, Chili's isn't going to make it. Red Lobster probably won't make it.
No.
But Applebee's, they know how to microwave a meal at Applebee's. Okay?
Anyway, I used to have to sing birthday songs when I worked at Ruby Tuesdays
Ah.
at the mall.
And they're never the classic happy birthday song.
No.
It's always has to be their corporate.
Baby. Here at Ruby Tuesdays, we would like to say, happy birthday on your special day. I worked there when I was 16. I am 40, and that is still ingrained in my head. That's how many times I sang that friggin' song.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I never had a corporate restaurant job.
Okay.
I know we're
So
gonna
you're just
to
better
wait.
than us.
No, hold on. But I worked at like 3 and 4 star places.
Yeah.
And they just did the happy birthday song.
Just
They were
like-
just like fucking send a lawyer.
Yeah.
Like they were always just like, send a lawyer. But again, if you were at Chili's or
Yeah.
Bennigan's or one of these other places, you always had to have this fake fucking bird
You had to have-
or a drum. There was always a gimmick.
There was this one place at the mall. It was like one of the restaurants that's on the outside of the mall. Like
I
the
swear we're
perimeter.
gonna talk about the book.
I promise. But like it was like a moose themed, and there was a giant moose puppet that would come out and sing "Happy Birthday" to you.
I don't remember
It
this.
wasn't Outback, but it was a moose themed. I'm gonna have to look this up. But I remember my aunt took me there with her shitty boyfriend at the time.
A moose?
And they came. The waiter came out and he had a giant moose hand puppet on his hand, and he made the moose sing "Happy Birthday" to me. And I was like 14. I'd never been so embarrassed in my life.
I think mine was.
But she got me a Fila windbreaker.
Oh.
So it was the worst birthday and the best birthday.
Mine was my dad used to like to do this thing where he used to tell people it was my birthday when it wasn't,
Okay.
especially at different corporate eateries because he
So you
wanted
had a free slice.
because he wanted to know what their song was.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This waitress would have hated that.
Yeah. And I just remember them making me stand. I think it was Bennigan's. They made me stand on a chair as they banged a big like bass drum.
Yeah. The one where they throw the peanuts on the floor, they make you sit on like a saddle.
That is Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we have to move
Okay.
on.
So the main character. Okay. I apologize, everyone. Let's start again. We'll put a note. The actual book starts at 13 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay.
After our discussion about birthday songs.
Okay. All right. So let's start again. The main character's name is Vesper. She's a server. She is doing her 5th birthday song
Yeah.
at Shorty's.
Yeah, the restaurant, and she hates it. She hates the job. She hates saying
Gotcha.
my birthday.
Okay.
Her and her coworker Carrie hand this little kid the slice of cake after the song ends, and Vesper sees the little kid whose birthday he's getting hugs and kisses, and she feels this like faint sense of nostalgia and a longing for her family.
Okay.
While also being fucking pissed. You know?
Yeah. I get that feeling.
Her and Carrie go to the back afterwards, and Carrie is asking Vesper to take her closing shift so she can get out early. She wants to get cut. And Vesper's like, no, I don't want to work late. I don't want your section. No, thank you.
Yep.
And Carrie's begging her, and she's like, please, the guy I'm seeing wants me to meet up with him. And Vesper's like, I'm not working late, so you can go see that tool bag.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that guy is 35 years old and has a snake. Does he have a snake? Does it come up later in the book?
We don't learn anything about this guy. But
I can picture this guy.
No,
Here's my question real quick, because it hasn't been made clear yet.
Yeah.
Do we know how old Vesper is approximately?
We're in our early 20s.
Okay,
We're
cool.
in our early 20s.
That's why I'm assuming the guy is at least 35.
Exactly.
And he has issues.
Yeah.
And he has, to any snake owners out there, I am not making fun of you in particular.
I used to own a snake.
I know. But there is a certain type of guy who like is in his mid 30s who dates waitresses.
Yeah.
Always has a snake.
Yeah.
Always has other problems.
Is that how I ended up with a snake? Anyway, so
that is 100. Yes.
So they get into a bit of an argument about this shift she's trying to get covered.
Yeah.
And Vesper blurts out, this dude uses you like a piece of meat. Your self-esteem is so low, or you're too stupid to see it. Okay.
Restaurant. I got you. This just sounds like a restaurant.
I wanted to pull this little quote out because we're introducing how blunt Vesper is.
Okay.
She is always just saying whatever the fuck is on her mind.
Yeah.
She does not take feelings into account.
Yeah.
This is what we need to know about this character.
Her mood changes with the wind, like a Vesper.
Yeah, like a Vesper. So Carrie responds, "You aren't pretty enough to be this much of a bitch, and you're really pretty."
All right.
So
I'm in.
We're into this dynamic, right? Vesper is like, oh, whatever. And so she takes the section. Because you know what it is? There's something about when somebody calls you a bitch, but is like, but also I love you. You're like, fine, I'll work your shit.
You're not pretty, but you're pretty. Is such.
You're not pretty enough to be a bitch.
I'll do whatever you want if you tell me that.
So Vesper takes her closing section so she can leave. And when she walks in the kitchen, the line cook's like, yeah, the order ate up for your highness. And she's talking to Vesper. Again, we're learning that she's blunt and people think maybe she is like, she carries herself in a way where everybody's like, oh, you're like a princess.
Yeah. And again, she's working at an Applebee's.
She's working at Shorty's.
Yep.
Later that night, like 40 minutes right before close, a four-top comes in.
Okay.
Visceral feelings right now. Vesper goes to greet them and she's pissed, but she's being nice and she's cursing Carrie's name in her mind, and it's 4 dude bros.
Oh.
And while she's taking her order, she can feel their eyes boring into her as the dude bros do.
Yeah. Yep.
One of the dudes at the table says, "Hey, has anyone ever told you look just like Constance Wright?" Now, Constance Wright is a super famous horror movie actress. I want you to picture like Jamie Lee Curtis mixed with Elvira, right? She is a scream queen.
Gotcha.
Okay? Known scream queen in this book. And she lives a very like, she lives the embodiment of scream queen. Like she dresses very goth. She wears the long gowns, straight black hair.
You know who I'm picturing?
Yeah.
Remember on Netflix, there was that lady who had like the horror house with like the puppets,
yes,
and she was
her.
like,
she started on YouTube.
Yeah, and she was like, oh, look at me, like I'm gonna make like googly monster eyes or whatever.
Very
things.
that.
That's just like what you're describing is that essence. I'm not describing necessarily that person, but like lives in an Addams Family style house, dresses, all black,
very
all that stuff. Okay,
so that's who she is. Very sexy, very goth. Lives the scream queen, which she is known for. Vesper is like, nope, I don't watch scary movies, never heard of her, and I'll be right back with those drinks, right? When she comes back, the dude has his phone up and in her face, and he's showing his Google search for Constance Wright.
Yep.
And there's this picture of her mother. Constance Wright is her mother.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
So the dude
So Vesper is too good for this place.
So,
I'm just saying, like, if you're working at a Bennigan's and your mom is a famous actress, like, you chose that life.
So this guy is super disappointed that she's saying she doesn't know who he is, because he keeps being like, no, don't you know? Like, she's been in this movie. And she's like, nope, never heard of her. Don't know. Never heard of her. Right? She's just like playing real dumb on this.
Absolute favorite. You know who loves to do that?
Who?
His name was Dusk. The guy who writes all of our themes. He does it to me. He still does it to me to this day constantly. Yeah. And I have to, like, every 5th or 6th time he does it.
Yeah.
I am like, I fall for it. Because he does it so much that sometimes I'm like, no, you have to know who Constance Wright is. We watched her movies. We watched 3 of her. You son of a bitch.
He always gets you.
He gets me so good.
So he's really disappointed, but she's trying to change the subject. And this guy's like, yeah, I'm just so sad she doesn't make movies anymore, but I heard she lives in Jersey. And
New Jersey,
yeah.
Yep.
Vesper wishes in this moment that she had her mother's acting skills, and she's just like, that's crazy. Do you guys want to order those Southwest nachos? Right?
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
just trying desperately to get out of this conversation. So these guys,
but there's no one to pawn it off on because
No.
she's the closer.
she's the closer.
Because she got convinced.
By Carrie.
Yep.
So these guys are having a lot of drinks, right? They're ordering a lot of rounds, which theoretically means there'll be a higher bill and a bigger tip. However, as we all know, the drunker you get, when it comes to dude bros,
Yep.
the lower the tip gets.
Because they're also going to want to split the check 4 ways.
Yeah.
You can't auto grad them because there's less than 6 people.
Yep.
And as you split the check more and more, each of them will assume that the other person will be leaving a bigger and bigger tip.
Yeah.
And before you know it, you realize you just worked for free somehow.
Yeah. After you tip out the busboy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the bartender.
Yep.
So
Somehow you owe money. Great industry we have out here, fellas.
So she goes to check on the table, in between getting drinks, and the king dude bro, who's the most drunk,
Yeah.
tries to grab ass at her a little bit, and is like, "Yeah, come here, sweetie. I need some more nacho cheese," right? And he's like, kind of
Yeah.
a little too touchy. And she, she wiggles her way out of it the way that you do. You wiggle, you shift, you move, so they
Yeah.
don't touch you. And she goes back to the back.
Real
Yeah, go
quick,
ahead.
as a former male server,
Yeah.
I've only had that experience once.
Oh.
And then when I was working at a bar in Delaware County, it was a restaurant bar. I usually worked the brunch. And one night they're like, we need you to cover a Friday. And I was like, okay, cool. And I didn't realize that this was actually a teacher bar.
Oh, okay.
On Friday and Saturday night, that was singles night.
Oh.
And they had like a disc. They literally said the back, it was like a dance club in the back, was for older people, like 30 and 40 and ready to mingle.
Yeah.
And it was mostly teachers who went there.
Wow. Okay.
From like all over Delaware County. And I just was staying late because I was like, they need coverage. And it was like really crazy. And these teachers, like straight up, it was like 6 English teachers almost assaulted me. Like they ripped my shirt, like because I was bringing them drinks because they moved from the main restaurant area into what they literally called the disco. They're like, we're over in the disco side because this restaurant bar was so old. And I had to cross the dance floor.
Yeah.
And by the time I got to the other end, it was like a fucking, like one of those like 80s or 90s
Yeah.
sketches where like I walked through and by the time I came out the other side, like all I had was like my bow tie. And they had ripped, I had to wear like a button down shirt and black pants. Like they had like ripped at me and like, and by the time I got to the other side, I was just like, no. No.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to go work at good places again.
I wish I could remember one story.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I have one. And she's like, I didn't even know how to, like, I think I was 20.
Yeah.
I think I was 20. And like, I didn't even know how to handle it. And it was a lot of being like spin. That was 2 decades ago.
You gotta be able to wiggle. You gotta be able to giggle your way out of it.
Yeah, but they all died of COVID. So.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, so, she tries to grab ass. She goes to the back because she's gonna get him his new ramekin of cheese sauce he needs for his nachos.
Yep.
Right.
Little cup of
And
cheese.
they didn't discuss it in the book. I don't remember, but like I'm assuming she goes back to the line and there's no one there because it's after close at this point, kitchen closed.
Yeah.
So she ends up having to microwave the nacho cheese sauce herself. So she pops it in the microwave. While she's back there, her manager comes in and hits her with the "How are we doing?" Yeah, we all know about the "How are we doing?" And so she does like the fake happiness. Oh, everything is great, having a great time, just getting some cheese for the table that's still here. And the manager's like, "Well, don't forget to ring it in for $2." And she's like, $2? She's having this inner monologue of like $2 for a cheese sauce. I don't want to put this on their thing because then they're going to be like $2 for cheese sauce.
Yeah.
But whatever. So she takes it back out to the table and is again greeted by the drunkest guy, who's like the leader of the 4. And he hits her, as she puts it down, he hits her with we were just talking about how all hot girls have daddy issues. Do you have daddy issues? Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
This is me.
So this book has just been triggering you
Yeah,
all
I've just been
the
having
whole
a real time. I've just been having
Because
a
you're
real
just, this was just like every day for you.
Yeah, for years.
When you used to work at bars and restaurants.
Yeah.
You would come back and like tell me and I would like get up to go. You would tell me hours later and I would like walk out of that. You're like, how are you going to find them?
Yeah, they don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Vesper laughs it off. And she was like, you couldn't possibly begin to know the depths. It she laughs it off, but it was like a laugh of like, you don't even understand the daddy issues. Like her laugh was for herself, not the boys. But the drunk guy took that as an invitation to like, we're giggling, huh? And so he grabs her and pulls her close by the waist, and she pulls away and like gives him the don't touch me, like the strong don't touch me. And he of course got what I like to call nice guy angry, which is a very specific type of rage that nice guys present. And she kind of deals with the nice guy angry energy.
This right here, by the way, the rage that nice guys present. I'm looking forward to seeing that in the YouTube comments right now. That's where the YouTube comments go in. No. I'm just telling y'all. If y'all want to know where the rage of nice guys lives.
The nice guy rage is the scary.
No, I'm like really good. I'm so nice.
I want to be honest with you. In my day-to-day life, I prefer the rage of openly aggressive men than nice guy anger. Nice guy anger is so much worse. It's so much scarier.
Because it goes 0 to 60.
And it's like it's just so much darker. I don't know. I could talk about that for hours.
It's you're talking about road rage versus locked in a basement. That's the difference you're talking about. I know exactly what you're saying.
So she's like, I'm gonna bring you guys your check, and he's like, I didn't say we were done, we're not leaving, blah blah blah. And of course he's drunk, they're all drunk. And she's like, okay, so I'm gonna go get the check. And he's like, listen, if I tell you to jump, you need to jump high and quick or you're not getting a tip. We're not leaving. And as she was getting ready to walk away from this bullshit, this guy, the drunk guy, he like grabs for his nacho cheese to like dip his little chip in, and he's like kind of like squeezes it too hard because it's in like a plastic ramekin. And the cheese actually splashes out on his face, and maybe she microwaved it too long. And so he starts screaming because this is like molten level hot cheese is like burning his face at this point. And Vesper, like it's described as her laughing. And I just, in my mind, she's laughing like Ralph Wiggum, like I'm in danger, like very that.
Not like a cackle.
Not like a cackle. It's like, Skiddy-o. Because and then that's like the end of the scene. And we cut to, and she's sitting at the bar with her manager. And she's drinking a margarita because her manager is firing her. And, you know, you get a closing shift drink at most restaurants. You get one drink, and
that's how they keep you in.
Yeah, she knew that she was going to get one drink, so she was like, let me get that marg. Because she knew she was getting fired because of the hot cheese.
One of my favorite places, when we used to work at a beer bar that had like, it was like 30 beers on tap.
Oh, growlers.
And, it no longer exists.
Doesn't exist anymore.
It was their big thing was we have all these different beers, and we would get all these rare beers, and it was the 2010s, early 2010s, so people were like into like, oh my god, they got this beer from this like these sacred monks from like this up this mountain, and I would come in for my shift drink, I'd be like, yeah, I mean a Coors Light and a shot of Jaeger, and they were like, but we have people have driven 200 miles to drink this thing, and you can have it for free. I don't want that. I want a Coors Light and a shot of Jägermeister. Or I'll have a Miller Lite and a shot of Fireball. Every time.
He crushed them. He crushed their spirits.
My favorite thing, that's another favorite thing, is whenever I go to an event that's at a classy place. And I go, do you guys have Fireball? And then watch everyone look at me and be like, this is why y'all are out of touch. They're going to come for you. You don't have Fireball or Jaeger at this bar. I'm just saying.
That was a weird job. That was a weird place to work.
That was a terrible place to work.
I hated that place.
That was a terrible
place. the putting the outside set. Like you had to do the outside tables.
Oh my God. And then carry them to the basement.
Oh my God, fucking.
Why are we storing these in a basement?
Yeah. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't even think about it. I'm glad they went out of business.
Listen.
Although that was Chef Mike there.
Yeah.
He's the one that showed me
one of the
greatest tricks. I learned a lot of cooking tricks from him. My favorite cooking trick that I use to this day is he would fill spray bottles with his oil flavors. So like if he was spraying truffle oil and french fries, he'd use like what we would consider a Windex bottle.
Yeah.
But he'd buy a food safe one.
Yeah.
And he would just spray shit. It was just like there was like so many Windex bottles filled with flavors. And he'd just be spraying shit. And I'm like, honestly, incredible. And so I do the same thing.
Yeah, I would walk in, he'd just be squirt. Yeah, no, he was listen, the staff, some of the staff that we worked with there were great and things like that. That manager, we
gotta keep
you know what? I'm just gonna hit that button and we're gonna cover everything. All right.
Like he did it with his nose and cocaine.
Okay.
Hey, okay. That's why it's closed.
Yep.
So she is sitting at the bar with her manager, and she is currently getting fired.
Yep.
And her manager is like, this is why we don't do sides of cheese. And she's like, yeah, okay, so the customers were harassing me, but the cheese is the problem, of course. And he's like, no, it's not just about this. You know, we've gotten a lot of complaints from the staff and customers about your attitude, saying that you're not a team player. And she's like, I'm literally covering Carrie's shifts tonight. How is that not a team player?
Yeah.
And he's like, let me give you some advice. This is quote, you're a hard worker, smart, pretty, and young, but you're not above the rest of us. You're not special. And she's like, is that advice?
Yeah.
And he's like, you just don't get it. And so she leaves. So it's true. It's not advice. It's just a statement. So she doesn't really fight too hard to keep the job because she knows she can get another gig easily. It's like, whatever. But she had been there a couple years in the story. So she leaves the restaurant and she's a little drunk because of the marg. And she takes a bus home. And because she doesn't want to get an Uber because now she's jobless, so she wants to save her money.
Yeah.
And she's walking to her apartment building.
It's probably surge pricing right then.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it says restaurants closed. Yep.
So she's walking to her apartment building and she gets the feeling that she's not alone and that she's being watched. Like she feels eyes on her.
Okay.
Right? She's just looking around outside, looking like as she's walking through the stairwell, like she just feels this sense of someone's watching her.
Yeah.
She gets up to her apartment door and on her doormat is a large red envelope. And internal alarms start going. Panic. They know where I live. They found me. They know where I live. They found me. Very that. Okay. So she knows that the envelope has come from home and she doesn't know who sent it or what it says, obviously. But it could have been anybody. Like it could have been her former best friend, Rosie. It could have been her Aunt Grace, her first boyfriend and first love, Brody. It could have been any of these people. She does not at any point think it came from her mom.
Okay.
Okay. So she's like, it could be from these people, this person from back home. Nope. But never once did it cross her mind that it could be her mom. And she opens it up to find that it's a wedding invitation. To the wedding of her former best friend, Rosie, and Brody.
Oh, her ex-boyfriend.
Her ex-boyfriend, true love. And
Bum, bum, bum.
she's really upset because she was in love with Brody, but he didn't want to run away with her. She was like,
Gotcha.
we got to get out of here. I got to get away from this place. And he refused to leave.
Is that place New Jersey?
New Jersey, yes.
Okay,
It is, in
gotcha.
fact, New Jersey. Story.
Because you said that her mom was living in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, so everything's back in Jersey.
Everything's in Jersey.
She's like, there's too many strip malls here. That was her reaction.
In the summertime, there's a lot of tomatoes.
I'm just saying, the GPS says a street number, but then the signs say Black Horse Pike, and I don't know where I'm supposed to turn.
That is very specific.
That one is very specific. But,
okay.
yeah.
So the next night, scene cuts. The next night, Carrie shows
They
up.
found me. Who found you? New Jersey.
Gotta stay off their radar. Gotta stay off their radar.
Gotta stay off the radar of New Jersey.
I've been trying to stay off the radar of New Jersey.
Was it August 2nd? I'll be in New Jersey, Atlantic City, doing stand-up.
Oh, look at that. High
Look at
five.
that
High five on the
fucking synergy.
promo.
Oh, your hand was on the camera.
Oh, my nails aren't done. Oh no, I just took them off.
Okay.
Okay, so where am I at? Oh, blah, blah, blah. So the next night, Carrie shows up with food from Shorty's, of course, to support her friend who got fired.
Yeah.
Right? And she's like, oh, no, I'm so sorry this happened. I can't believe it happened. But actually, she just showed up to talk about the guy she met up with because apparently he ghosted her the night before. So all of this was for nothing. The guy ghosted her. And
Because he wanted to hang out with a snake.
yeah.
I guarantee you that guy got into it. He discovered G-bongs.
I don't know what that is.
A gravity bong?
What's that?
You don't know what a gravity bong is?
No.
What?
I'm not a marijuana person.
Okay. It's all right. How do I begin?
Okay, how about we just stick to the book and we can
Okay.
tell me some other time.
All right.
So
I'm just shocked. I'm shocked. Honestly,
I
this is the most shocking piece of information for you to not know. You not knowing like who like Charles X was, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Like some other things that we've covered on here where you like being like amazed by them, but you not knowing what a gravity bong is, like honest to God, that bothers me.
yeah. Oh.
Because like it means you're not as much of like a shitball as I thought you were. Like you
Thanks?
just got
Wait, thanks?
Yeah.
Thanks?
Yeah, no.
You already I only smoked marijuana like twice my whole life.
I know, but I'm just saying like but you've been like I just figured from the people you knew.
Yeah, I didn't
that
hang
you
out
would
with
have been
those
around.
I
Okay.
didn't hang out with people that smoked a lot of weed.
Okay.
So the Carrie is like, they're eating their snacks, they're talking about stuff. You're still on this.
I'm stuck. I'm sorry, but keep going. So they're eating snacks.
They're eating snacks, talking shit, and Carrie. But at the same time, Vesper's packing her luggage.
Yeah.
And Carrie's like, "Where are you packing your bags to go?" And she's like, "I'm going to my cousin's wedding." And Carrie's like, "I thought you didn't have any family." And then we have like this internal monologue moment where Vesper learned very early after leaving home that people were always going to ask about family, especially if you're always the one to offer to pick up holiday shifts. So she learned that when people find out that you're estranged from your family or a family member, they always assume it's your fault. So over the years, she's like tried different responses, like, they're just really religious, or we don't get along, or, I had to like step away from them. But it's always met with suspicion when people are like, why would you leave your family? Like, their blood, blah, blah, blah. So what did you do to make your family behave that way towards you? Like stuff like that. Or when she would talk about how like they're really extremely religious, then she would always be met with like, oh, what, you don't believe in God? So she just stopped talking about it, and she would just say to people like she doesn't have family, because then she would get the least amount of pushback.
Yeah, it's also just one of those things where like, people will make up a whole story in their mind, and then if you just try to defend yourself against that story, then they'll just keep going.
Yeah, exactly. There's no winning.
Yeah.
So she had told Carrie that she had no family. So Carrie's like, what do you mean your cousin's wedding? So she responds to Carrie and she's like, it's complicated. It's a long story. Carrie is like, I thought they were all dead, and that's why you're so weird.
Okay.
And so anyway, that's over. And next scene, we're in Penn Station, getting on New Jersey Transit.
Okay.
So
Like
hell on earth.
So she was in New York during this.
Yeah. She was in like, I think the Westchester area, just like outside of New York City.
Gotcha.
Is how
where
it
the
kinda
X-Men live.
Okay.
Did you not know that?
I did not know the X-Men lived in Westchester, New York.
Yeah, they live in Westchester, New York.
Okay.
That's a big deal. The X-Mansion is in Westchester, New York.
So they would eat.
There's an Airbnb right now where they made a new X-Mansion.
I thought that was AI.
No, it's real.
That's real?
That's
I thought
real,
it looked
real.
like AI to me.
No. And I said, I want to do this. And you said...
That looks like AI.
You said it looks like AI. I was like, no, it's real. I would like to go to there. And then you looked at me and you were like,
I didn't say that at all.
Yeah, no, you didn't say anything. You just went, and you went back to the baby. And I was like, well, it's my 40th birthday. And you're like, I don't care.
You're making up.
I'm not making up anything.
Really?
I read
Do you
the
want
body
me to go
language.
hand you what I got you for your birthday? No,
No.
you don't, because it's so cool and you'll feel bad about what you just said.
Super cool.
Okay, so
It's not a trip to the X-Mansion in Westchester, New York.
okay,
Through Airbnb.
Airbnb is a trash company.
It is a trash company, but they did this one thing I've ever liked, and it's the only thing I want to do.
So she's
Babe, you get to go to Beast Lab, and you can make cocktails.
she's on New Jersey Transit.
All right.
She's in hell. Okay.
It's true.
She's taking
Better than SEPTA.
She's taking a bummer of a commute from Westchester, New York to what is described as like middle Jersey, I think. Like the part where it's mostly farms.
Yeah.
Yeah, middle Jersey. And
Did they say what train station?
I don't think they say what train station she gets off of. They might, and I just missed it.
Okay.
She's having an internal monologue of like, I wonder how she's going to be greeted when she returns home. Because the church that she grew up in has many rules, and one of them is that once you leave, you can never return.
Oh, so she did grow up in a religious, crazy church.
She grew up in a hyper-religious church.
Okay.
And that was her main catalyst for leaving.
Okay.
Is this religion that she's getting away from.
Okay, got that.
And she gets off the train, she gets into a gross cab, and he's taking her to the train station. And again, it's in like a deep rural area, like farmland.
Yeah.
She gets to her mother's house, which is a huge Victorian, which when it was being described, I was picturing it. Have you ever seen Kat Von D? Remember Kat Von D? Do you ever see her mansion that she had in LA?
I think I did.
It was like a big Victorian that she flipped to be like very goth, and she painted the pool blood red.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's very that. So,
wait, so her mom is like a 80s and 90s scream queen, right? And then, but who's also super religious?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll explain more of this.
Yeah. So,
okay. I feel like that gets more explained in the book.
I think it makes, there are, what's her name from the Scientology gal does all the cult movies, but she's in Scientology. Like, people just have mental blocks about certain things, I think.
Okay.
So she basically falls in the doorway because, like, after such a long commute, she's, like, just so tired and messed up from, like, being in gross travel.
Yeah.
So she's not arriving, like, cool and collected, as you would hope after being away from them for so many years. You have to, you want to come back and be cool.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's like going to a high school reunion. Like, you want to be cool when you come back. But
I just lost my job at Bennigan's.
Yeah, this is not what's happening. She,
No.
like, trips over the skeleton near the door because the inside of this place is filled with horror stuff, like skeletons from movies.
I'm picturing, oh my God, Rob Zombie's house. The inside of Rob Zombie's house.
Very much.
Yes.
Very much that. So when she
movie props and scary stuff.
Movie props and scary stuff everywhere. Very goth, very horror.
And a step above what you would get at Halloween Adventure.
Who was that gal that dances in the martini glass? You know what I'm talking about?
For me, you're not narrowing it down.
The people that listen to this podcast are gonna write in.
Last week it was Adirondack chairs.
Oh my God, Adirondack chairs. Thank you, everyone.
Adirondack chairs.
Dita Von Teese. It's Dita Von Teese's house. I don't know if you've ever seen her house, but very that.
Okay.
It's a glamour horror.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hit the camera. So she walks in and falls into the house, and she is greeted immediately by her entire family and some of their friends because they're having a big dinner party, and it's the rehearsal dinner for this wedding. Oopsie doopsie.
Vesper, what?
So her mother is at the head of the table, staring at her, stone-faced. Not surprised, not angry, nothing. Just not an emotion to be had.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone is dressed in their Sunday best. Very conservative, very waspy, right? Like, it's all high necklines, fancy, rich, conservative people clothing, right? She makes eye contact with Rose. Rose jumps to greet her and is in complete shock, almost in tears. She can't believe it. She's surprised to see her, so we realize that Rose isn't the one that sent the invitation. Brody is sitting across from Rose, and he, like, literally drops all of his food. He's, like, passing stuff, and he drops it all. So
it's a record scratch moment.
It's a record. He also didn't invite her.
Yeah.
Aunt Grace gets up from the chair and gets a chair and scoots her to the table. And it's like, there's plenty of room for you. Everybody's being very weird. Obviously, they haven't seen her in years.
Yeah.
I think it's like 6 years, maybe 6 years. They haven't seen her. It's this big wedding. People know the history of the situation. It's awkward. So there's a toast to the soon-to-be newlyweds by Rose's father. Everyone cheers. And someone says, will someone lead us in a blessing? Because the food's coming out.
Yeah.
And Rose nominates Vesper. And Vesper's like, okay, just like very not prepared for such a thing.
Yeah.
Which was rude, Rose.
It is rude.
And Brody jumps in and says, I'll do it. So everyone holds hands and they read a prayer. And I'm actually going to read it straight from the book because I didn't want to type it all out. And also, it's just more important that we get this right. So this is a direct quote from the book.
Okay.
This is the prayer that Brody says as they're all holding hands around the table. As it was in the beginning, as it will be in the end, truth everlasting. Everyone repeated after he said that, okay? May you hear our prayer of gratitude for these gifts which we are about to receive, and look deep into the red of our hearts and know our devotion. May you hear our prayer of gratitude for these gifts which we are about to receive, and look deep into our hearts and know our devotion. So it's a call and response situation. Yeah. O Lord, be with us, your faithful servants, as we savor these blessings in your name, of your name, and for your name. Praise to him, praise to him. Hail Satan, hail Satan.
What? Well, come on.
So
they threw a hail Satan. Like, here's the thing.
Okay.
You actually did catch me off guard with that.
Yeah.
You did actually catch me off guard. It is wild because you kept talking about the religious aspect of it, but I'm like, oh no, it makes sense now. It makes more sense.
Okay.
All right. So are they LaVey Satanists? What type of Satanists are they?
They didn't go into the direct type of Satans that they are. So this is the moment in the book. This is the big reveal.
Yeah.
That because it leads into this conservative evangelicalism that they're talking about. She's running away from this deeply religious church. They're very conservative. They have this type of views. And we find out that actually she did grow up in a deeply religious cult. However, it's Satanism.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have dinner. And it's very awkward.
Yeah.
Vesper collects her bags and goes upstairs to her childhood room, which is on like the 3rd floor of this giant Victorian house. And she's describing the house as she's walking through it, seeing her memories. And I wrote a note here. It looks like Kat Von D's house before she went anti-vax. Oh. So, well, here's the thing. Kat Von D used to be goth.
Yeah.
But then she went anti-vax, and now she's Christian and lives in Indiana.
Who was the one who was dating the Nazi?
Kat Von D.
Oh, that was Kat Von D. Okay, yeah, gotcha. Because she did like makeup and shit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't when you said earlier the martini glass spinning one.
Yeah, that's Dee Von Teese, who dated Marilyn Manson, also a Nazi.
None of it worked out. The because like that's the whole thing with this is like it's actually kind of nice being like, oh yeah, but they don't get it wrong because of Satanism. I'm like, okay, cool. Like this actually feels kind of good because you're so used to because I'm so used to so many ones where it's like, oh, it's a crazy like religious cult. It's like now we can all just suspend our disbelief. We don't have to put any of our religious trauma into it.
Oh, you're wrong.
I'm wrong?
You're wrong. This book, actually, for people that are going to read this book on their own, if you have religious trauma or have like deconstructed or like you're going through that process, this book is a really lighthearted form of catharsis. Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
But that's what I mean.
Because it takes it in a different view.
I'm saying because it's disconnected. Because they're not like, oh no, we're Christian evangelical fundamentalists, Pentecostals in Missouri. Yeah. Right? It's like, no, these are Satanists in New Jersey. That's funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
Yeah, that's funny and different.
The way they behave is exactly the same.
No, I get that. I get that.
So dinner's awkward. She goes up. She's describing the house.
Yep.
Skeletons, jars of stuff, props from the movies, blah, blah, blah. Very big, very beautiful, very gothic, rich, and scary. Vesper's mom is the only person, Constance, is the only person that gives off the vibes of Satanism. You have to remember this. She's goth because she's goth. It has nothing to do with Satanism.
It's more that goth is her.
Yeah. Everybody else in the religion, it looks like conservative Christians. They're button-ups, they're blondes, they're blue-eyed, they look the part. It's just that Constance happens to be goth. You know what I mean? Like, gotcha. She is the one-off. Everybody else is normal. Normcore.
In Marvel terms, her mom is the Red Skull, and everyone else is a Hydra double agent.
Okay, I don't know what any of that meant. But if the other people are going to get it, then they're going to get it.
They're going to get it. They're going to get it.
Okay, so at the house, there's a lot of family interactions. Okay. Rosie is surprised that Vesper came back. She doesn't know who invited her. Rosie admits that she went to the high priest multiple times and asked permission to have her invited, but was never granted. She talks to her Aunt Grace, who is described as being like a very lovable mom type, you know, like winking, kissing, making pancakes. She's a little chubby, always in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. And her mother, Constance, barely makes eye contact with her unless it's to criticize or ask her to leave. And basically is like, you left quietly in the middle of the night. You should do that again.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we learn about Constance is that she's very cold. She does not show affection for her daughter ever. She does not. It's not even that she doesn't care for her. She doesn't think of her. She is always fully dressed in like 6-inch stilettos, walking around, cool as a cucumber, but like does not think of Vesper or about Vesper. And that's how it's been her whole life.
Gotcha.
Right? So we find out that basically Vesper grew up alone in this house. Her mother often left her to go film movies. So she would just like leave her alone, like not even a nanny, because they were like, well, the family lives nearby. They'll just come check on her.
Gotcha.
So like Grace would come over and check on her, but Vesper was alone a lot of the time.
Yeah. Latchkey kid.
Latchkey kid. Her mom kept her bedroom door locked when she was little. So Vesper wasn't allowed ever in her mom's bedroom. So like, I guess she like spilled a bottle of perfume once or like got caught in her mom's closet trying on the beautiful dresses. And her mom was like, fuck you, you're out.
Gotcha.
And she's in her childhood bedroom. She's having all these memories. She's seeing all the things. It's like, that's
What's
what
her childhood bedroom look like? Is it pink or is it black? That's my question. Because I feel like this is going to be like the Munsters, where there's like the one, quote, normal.
Yeah.
And then everything else is like black and goth and metal and death. And then like hers is just like a normal girls' room.
It's very a normal girls'
2004.
room. It's not pink. It's just a normal girls' room.
That's what I mean. But it's just like, just for to have a normie dropped into this is very funny. It's always like jarring as well.
She's normie.
Yeah.
Pictures, like posters on the walls.
Yeah, like Justin Timberlake. Like that's what I'm saying. Like NSYNC posters and stuff like that. Like I'm just picturing like a very much like an Amanda Bynes room from 2004. You know what I mean? Like that type of teenager.
Exactly. So very that. However, because she's been gone, her mom has like put different things in the room as like a storage thing.
Yeah.
So there are some weird stuff in the room. Speaking of, one of those things is she's trying to she's like unpacking her stuff and she wants to plug in her cell phone. And so she's looking for the outlet, and there's a new lamp her mom had just put on her bedside table, which is a human femur covered in what looks like human skin from a movie. Oh. So like weird things are in there, but they're not hers. Her mom's just been storing them in there.
It's the leg lamp from A Christmas Story, but
horrifying.
Yeah.
But horrifying.
Yeah, going wild.
Nope, going horrifying.
Okay.
So
as if it was generated by AI. If I typed a leg lamp into AI, it would give me that.
She opens some of the drawers and she finds her childhood necklace, which is this beautiful necklace, which has a pentagram encrusted with rubies surrounded by emerald cut diamonds.
Oh.
Like gorgeous. Just been sitting in a drawer for 6 years. This necklace was gifted to her on her 6th birthday as part of the Hell's Gate tradition. It was part of her communion. So when she went to get communion in 6th grade, she had to wear like the big frilly dress and blah, blah, and then they gave her this necklace.
Okay.
And a lot of people get...
Her CCD must have ruled.
Like,
versus everyone else, like, you go there, you go to your CCD. We're going to tell you about some saints. She's like, we're going to talk about Satan today.
Yeah. So...
And you're like a teenager. Imagine rebelling as a teenager against Satan.
She couldn't rebel. Her mom never looked at her.
No, I know. But I'm saying...
There's no rebellion if no one pays attention.
No.
Damn.
Stop dropping bars.
What we need to know is that her necklace, while all the girls in the cult's name, the religion's name is Hell's Gate.
Yeah, I figured that much.
So Hell's Gate,
like Heaven's Gate.
Exactly, but Hell's Gate.
Yeah.
Her necklace is the prettiest. Her mom is rich. Her mom is like 3rd generation in this religion. So they are of high standing, right? So like this necklace is one of the best ones you'll see. Other girls got necklaces too, but they don't have emerald cut diamonds and rubies. You know what I mean?
I figured as much.
So, but yeah, we're learning more and more that she comes of the stock of Hell's Gate. Mm-hmm. She's old tradition, old money in the religion, right? So in the drawer is also a picture. And it's the only picture of her father she has.
Oh.
It's a picture of her as a little girl, and it's like their parents are standing up behind her, and you can see his arm around her, but the picture doesn't show his face, only his hand and her arm. His hand and his arm, and this is the only image she has of her father.
Oh, I was going to ask about the dad, but I had a feeling.
Yeah,
I had a feeling it's literally not in the picture.
Not in the picture. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Not in the picture.
Oh, I don't have a sad trombone, so I'll just...
Okay, stop using the air horn.
No, I want to use it more.
So
I have a button, and I want to hit it.
So she closes her mind. She's trying to imagine what he looks like and remember him before his visitation stopped. And she can barely bring into consciousness what he looked like from her youth.
Got it.
And while she's like...
So he was around a little bit when she was very younger. Very, very young.
Yeah, and then he stopped coming around.
Okay.
And so she's having these memories of like her waiting by the front door because it's his day to come visit and he doesn't show up. That whole thing.
Yeah. Heart ripping.
So she goes downstairs and we are introduced to more things on the walls and stuff.
Tchotchkes.
Also, just like quick note, when I'm doing these summaries to explain these to you and the listeners, I'm missing chunks of information for time. And so if this book interests you, please go read it because there's things I'm missing.
Yeah, that you're skipping over.
I'm skipping over. Like she goes into details about the characters on the walls and what they mean and like why they're important, but like we kind of don't have time to go to take the side quest into that
because I talk too much about Bennigan's.
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah.
So she hears someone outside calling her name, and it's Brody. And he's like, I can't believe you're, oh, by the way, it's like the middle of the night.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't believe you're back. How did this happen? I didn't mean to fall in love with your best friend and cousin, blah, blah, blah. And they're like having a conversation. He kisses her. She feels absolutely nothing. End scene. Just need to know that happened. So
I figured it was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was one of those things that's very set up. That was like Chekhov's, not Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But Brody, ugh. Listen, no offense to people named Brody, but Brody.
I mean, one of my favorite wrestlers is Brody Lee. So, yeah.
Okay, fine. I guess Brodies are cool.
This Brody might suck.
So, well, we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah.
So she goes back into the house and things are moved around. Like the glass of water she was drinking out of is missing. It's been moved. The drawer, she had put away stuff, the necklace and the picture back in the drawer, but when she comes back to her room, it's out. So we start to think that there's something suspicious going on. Things are being moved.
It's very much like when you're at a hotel and you didn't think they were going to clean your room and you come back and it's been clean type of feeling.
Yes.
And things have just been like straightened a little bit. You're like, I don't know why you needed to square the granola bar I left out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why'd you square that to the corner?
Why'd you touch my granola bar?
Yeah, why'd you touch
So
stuff?
she's sitting in her room and she looks out the window and she sees a little lamb under the tree. Because again, they're on a farm, which is not out of the ordinary.
That's not good. They're going to sacrifice that lamb.
There's not out of the ordinary because they're on a farm. And she immediately feels bad because she knows that lambs are sacrificed as part of their religious rituals.
Yeah, I know. Instantly. Can I ever tell you?
Yeah.
I was in Central PA once and I was at this restaurant and it was like very famous for their lamb.
Yeah.
And it was really good. And it was like, everybody was like really enjoying it. Everybody, blah, and it's the middle of nowhere. The restaurant's the side of the road. And I'm sitting there and everyone keeps telling me how great the lamb is. And I'm like waiting to order. And I look and I watch a guy from the restaurant walk across the street and pick a lamb up and walk it back towards the restaurant. And I was like, I'll have the chicken. Like instantly I switched up. I was like, no, I can't do it. Listen, there's one thing when it comes from a plant and a pack and the whole thing, but I was like, I watched it and I was the lamb looked cute.
I know.
I mean,
listen, you know how I feel. I am a big proponent on having maybe people should have been have butchered food once or twice so they understand what they're doing.
Yes.
I have a funny lamb story though.
Okay.
To cut away. When I was in high school.
Don't pun. To cut away.
When I was in high school, I worked at a pizza shop near my house. And the pizza shop owners were Greek and they were lovely people. And I worked there like basically all of my senior year because I had to pay for my senior year out of pocket. So like I would work to be able to pay for Catholic school. And during Easter, Greek traditions, they have a lamb at Easter. And I did not know that because I didn't grow up in the Greek religions.
Yeah.
Just didn't
You weren't
know.
Greek Orthodox.
I wasn't Greek Orthodox. So I wasn't aware of the very specifics that go into their meal stuff, right? Because I was in high school and not cultured of the world yet.
Gotcha.
So I'm there and I'm like doing my job. And part of my job was like you had to go like move stuff into the walk-in at the end of the night. And so I open up the walk-in fridge and here in the middle of the walk-in is a full lamb skinned just in the middle of the walk-in. It scared the living.
It wasn't on a board.
No, sitting like the way the lambs look on the butter dishes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like sitting. And I was like, whoa! And I screamed so loud. And then of course there's like the delivery driver who is like,
and they're all laughing.
They're all laughing. Everybody's like, because it startled me so bad. I'll never forget that. That's like my one lamb I saw lamb.
I remember when we had a housewarming party years ago, and you went to an Italian place in South Philly, and you got us a full roasted pig.
Oh yeah.
And that was the first time I'd ever seen that.
Yeah.
Where it was the full pig, like they bring it out on a board and they set it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you kept yelling, "I'm gonna eat its butt," and then you did.
No, I said I was gonna eat its cheeks, but I meant its face cheeks.
Yeah, but I also watched you eat I watched you eat pig butt.
Well, next morning. She goes downstairs to make some toast, and she of course runs into her Aunt Grace, who's bip-bopping around the kitchen, and she's gonna make her some chocolate chip pancakes because she's like, it's your favorite, I missed you. Grace is loving. Like Grace is her maternal figure. We're learning, right? Her mom comes into the kitchen and giving her the stone cold stunner face, like nothing. Yeah, just like, oh, you're still here, and then like turns and goes and like eats something. But
two bird seeds.
Yeah, exactly. And she's openly wondering. She's not talking to Vesper. She's talking to the room. And she's like, why didn't you leave? You know what I mean? Like, she's just being like that. Did I hit it too much?
No, you're fine.
Okay. So all the gals because this is wedding day. I don't know if I messed because last night was rehearsal dinner. We are wedding day.
Oh, they went that fast.
Yeah.
They didn't put any beat
No
between.
space in between. That's
Okay.
why she got the invitation. She knew she had to be there on this day.
Gotcha.
So she's eating this chocolate chip pancakes with bananas, and she can hear a commotion coming from Constance's bedroom upstairs because all the gals for the wedding are upstairs. They're up there doing their hair, makeup, blow dryers, Taylor Swift sing-alongs, the whole shebang, right?
Gotcha.
Vesper heads up to join them,
Mm-hmm.
and she walks into the suite, the bedroom suite. Big 4-poster bed, gold damask wallpaper, sconces, built-in bookshelves filled with satanic texts. So it's like gorgeous room. It's all dark and red, and of course, it's very that. And so she's taking it in like a child because she's like, I was never allowed in this room.
Oh, because this is her mom's room.
It's her mom's bedroom.
Oh.
So they're all in there having a great time singing Taylor Swift songs and like
she's
this
looking
deeply
around.
And she's like, I have not been in here since I was 3 and I got kicked out. Like,
yeah.
So
and they
she's-
reminded me repeatedly for the thing I don't remember doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like a parent.
Uh,
Can't wait to do that to our kid.
so she's having a moment being in this room, and she goes into her mom's gorgeous ensuite bathroom, and she's describing this beautiful bathroom, clawfoot tub, hand-tiled floor. Fun fact, in the hand-tiled floor, a big pentagram in the tiles.
That is a fun fact.
You know what? Just like it's the details that matter.
Yeah, it is the details.
And
you don't see handicraft like this, these days.
No.
Nobody really cares about the details anymore. They're too busy just pushing out satanic McMansions.
Yeah.
Nobody
satanic
wants to go
farmhouse
Yeah,
culture.
everything is satanic farmhouse these days.
Yeah.
I want to see the good, get me some satanic Mason, Masonic lodge.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Gorge.
Get a chisel.
So through the bathroom is the huge walk-in closet that's as big as a bedroom, right?
Gotcha.
So she walks in because it's open, and she's like, "This is open too." She's like a kid in a candy store. She's like, "I've never been in here."
Yeah.
So she walks in, and she's looking at the beautiful clothes. She's describing to the reader the beautiful clothes and how a lot of them are from different movies, like famous. These are famous wardrobe from movies.
Yeah. From horror movies.
From horror movies, and like movie premieres and stuff. And so Constance walks in and catches her, of course. 'Cause she's like quiet. She's like, it's just all of a sudden behind her. She's staring at the clothes. She's not doing anything wrong. And wrangles her back to the group, and they're carrying the bridesmaids' dresses and the bride's dress. So she's like, come with us. We're going to get out of my room, right? So we're back to the gals, and Rosie is super excited. She's put on her wedding dress. It's like, this is her big day. Rosie is a lovely character, by the way. I'm not getting into it, but Rosie's a lovely little gal.
Yeah.
Who, I don't feel any animosity as a reader to her for falling in love with Brody. They live in a cult together.
Vesper was gone for 6 years.
Yeah, it's like
it's fine.
open season at that point.
Yeah.
So, she is really excited to put on her wedding dress because it's her big day, and she can't wait to show Vesper because Vesper is the only one who hasn't seen the wedding dress. Everybody else
Gotcha.
has seen it before because all the women are upstairs. So I'm gonna read you from the book, The Wedding. I literally wrote a Post-it note right here called "Wedding Dress Scene."
Okay.
Because it's incredible, honestly, and I had to put a note. This is from Vesper's point of view. An ugliness snuck up on me from the inside. Oh, wait. Before I even say that, Rose turns around and goes, puts on the dress and looks at her and is like, what do you think? An ugliness snuck up on me from the inside. She was so happy, glowing like a pearl, about to marry someone who I had been with first, the only serious boyfriend I'd ever had. She was about to live happily ever after in a life that could have been mine, if only I could have stomached it. I was jealous that she got to be dumb, giddy sheep, never questioning anything, showing up to mass thinking she'd live forever because she was among the chosen, not caring that everyone else in the world would burn for eternity in the torturous flames of hell for the simple sin of not worshiping Satan. I bet she thinks I'll burn, I realized. I bet she thinks I deserve it. Vesper, you're the only one who hasn't seen my dress, she said, turning towards me. What do you think? I knew what I should say. I knew the only appropriate response was effusive praise, but in that moment I couldn't let go of my animosity. I looked her up and down and said, "It's nice."
Okay. I can now see why the book is called Black Sheep. Somehow in a room full of Satanists, she is the meanest.
It's nice.
With that, I think we're going to take a break.
Yeah.
I can feel like you've set us up perfectly for a break right there. So when we come back, we'll do more of this. If you're already a Patreon member, you will not hear any ads. You will go right into the song. And if you aren't, you're going to hear a couple ads, and then we'll be right back. And we're back. Here we are.
Yeah. Okay,
We're about
so
halfway through.
We could, yeah. So you could hear a pin drop after she said that.
Yeah, after
right, because
she-
it was mean girl shit.
It was, I'm going to say it.
What?
I'm going to say it. It was cunty.
Alex.
What? I'm going to say it.
Wow.
Okay.
So everybody's like just like wide-eyed and quiet, right? Because this is mean shit.
To say to a bride on
yeah.
her wedding day,
Oh my
that's
God.
nice.
About the guy you used to date? Come on.
Yeah.
So Vesper tries to apologize and is like, no, you look gorgeous. Blah, blah. It didn't work anyway.
Doesn't matter because she already did the mean thing.
Yeah. Constance is like,
You can't
Vesper,
roll
go
it
put on your
back.
dress. Vesper's like, please go put on your dress. Get out of the room, right?
Yeah. Now, is she a bride? Is Vesper a bridesmaid?
No.
Okay. She's just a girl at the wedding
She just got invited to the wedding.
who has friends in low places.
Okay.
Because this is very Garth Brooks, friends in low places. I've been thinking about it the entire time. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
The Garth Brooks song.
I heard the Garth Brooks song, I think.
I got friends in low. It's a whole, the whole song is about a guy showing up to his ex's wedding.
Oh.
And like getting shit hammered and like making it their problem that he's even there.
Okay,
And
yeah.
then the chorus is I got friends in low places, and it's all about how like he's like, yeah, I'm a bag of shit, but like, you know, type of
Okay,
thing.
well, maybe
it's like
you're
it's the only Garth Brooks song I like.
Okay. Well, I think, you know what, honestly, you're onto something.
Okay.
So we find out as she goes to get changed into her dress for the wedding that in a fit of rage, Vesper bought a fuck you dress.
Oh,
a revenge dress.
And I showed up in boots.
It's red velvet. It's kind of short. It's got a slit that goes all the way up the thigh. It's a lot of skin, a lot of tight red velvet. Okay.
Okay. This sounds kind of like I think it's Ada Wong's dress from Resident Evil. You don't know the reference, but that's just what I'm picturing.
Okay.
All right.
So it's not at all appropriate for church. Okay.
No, of course.
So
Well, but it is Satan church.
it's still church.
Okay.
And she's regretting the choice now. She looks in her closet and finds a cardigan from high school that she puts on over it, like a
Okay.
hand knit cardigan
Okay.
that she puts over it. That
Yeah.
honestly, the way it's described is like it's a hand knit cardigan that Grace made for her, and so like she has on this slinky dress and then this puffy knit cardigan, and I was like, oh, like Kim Kardashian at the Met Gala this year. Because I don't know if you saw the pictures, but she like had on like this tight, shiny ass dress, but then like the weirdest little cardigan.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh no, I just like threw it on. And I'm like, did the back of your dress break and you're just hiding it with a shitty cardigan? Because that's what it's giving me.
Because that was the one that she was, Kim Kardashian was wearing that dress with like the corset that was pulled so tight that people
Yeah.
were like, you're crushing your guts.
Yeah, she doesn't care.
Yeah, I know.
She'll do anything.
Yeah.
For attention. So Vesper sees that she's gotten some messages on her phone as she's getting changed. And
Okay.
it's Carrie being like, you'll never guess what happened. That shitty manager that fired her, he got fired. No one knows why, but maybe we're right about him being a slime ball. Right. So like we just find out she's just texting her friend that the manager's name is Rick, by the way. Rick got fired.
That is a scummy manager name.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Listen,
Restaurant manager 101.
I have friends named Rick. But if you're a restaurant manager named Rick,
Oh, no.
suspicious.
Suspicious behavior.
Instantly, I know you're stealing tips. I don't care.
No, we have to pool them, and then I need to count the pool tips in my office with no one else
alone,
around.
with the door locked.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
While I'm
Listen, you're hurting me. You're hurting me to
I
the
know.
core right now. Lived experiences. So
Oh wait, real quick to Rick,
Allegedly.
just in case.
Rick's dead.
Yeah.
She returned.
Not COVID.
No. She returns to the gals, and goes back. She's dressed in her outfit.
Yeah.
She answered text messages. She goes back to her mom's room to find the gals, and they're in the middle of a prayer circle.
Yeah.
And the prayer circle is they're chanting. They're all in a circle holding hands, and they're chanting their prayer. And it's please, Satan, let today be filled with your glory. I am so blessed by your gifts, my Lord. All that is by your glory. My greatest blessing is that today I get to join my life with one of your most deserved servants. Together we will worship every day. So again, we're really
I'm just holding up the book because when this gets taken out of context, I want people to know this is a direct quote from the book.
Yeah.
You aren't just reading satanic prayers. I was picturing it more Hillsongy, more like, my Satan isn't awesome. Satan, he reigns. Like, that's how I was picturing
Okay, you know what?
how
I
it should be
love
done.
That.
Like, you're doing it very much. You're doing right one Satanism.
Okay, I see.
I want to do TikTok Satanism.
Got it.
Like, that's how I feel it should be done.
I think that's great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instagram real Satanism.
So they turn around after they're done praying and they see Vesper. And Constance doesn't look shocked, but she does mock Vesper's dress and calls her the picture of modesty, right?
Yeah.
And Vesper, in her mind, again, she doesn't say these things. In her mind, she's like, who are you to talk about this? There's an entire generation of men that jerked off to your images in tight leather and chainmail. But she doesn't say it out loud. Like, who are you to talk to me about fucking modesty, right?
Yeah, I get it.
As the day progresses, Vesper is feeling like a ball of nerves, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's stressed by her mother. She's stressed from being home. She's feeling resentful and nervous.
She's mad she's there. I
She's
get
pissed.
it. Yeah, I get it. I get all of it.
She's starting to feel physically ill from all of the stress, which, you
It
know,
happens.
is a sign of complex post-traumatic stress disorder when you
Yep.
have physical reactions to that type of stress. And so we just need to know that she is not feeling great about this
Yeah.
situation and being surrounded by these people and all of these memories and all this stuff. So they're all start heading down to the church services, which are it's like a barn that's a church that's out off kind of on the same plot of land a little bit. So they're all heading over there, and she's feeling a lot of feelings at this point because the church is the main reason she left, right? And she doesn't want to sit in a church service, but she goes in and the mass goes on as it usually does after, you know, like, and it's very uncomfortable. We're experiencing her being back in church after this is the reason she's left, and she's really hating it. And the mass is going on as it always does. And right before Rose and Brody are making their devotion commitment ceremony, right? They need to show their devotion to the Lord through sacrifice.
Well, here goes that lamb. Here goes that
Another
lamb.
priest comes in, leading a lamb to the altar in front of them.
Nope.
Rosie holds the rope around the lamb's neck to steady him, and Brody pulls out a knife.
Yep.
Vesper looks away and covers her ears. Like, she hates this part. Is one of the main reasons she doesn't want to be in church.
Yeah.
She doesn't believe in the sacrifice.
She's like, I'm a vegetarian now.
Yeah, vegetarian. And so she counts to 10, and then she looks back at the altar, and the priest is like, before the Lord, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
Okay.
That's how they seal the deal. We cut to the cocktail hour. Vesper's getting drunk, okay?
Oh, yeah.
She's having a bad time.
I would too.
Vesper's like, I'm going to have a couple drinks.
A couple?
Couple drinks.
Girl, let me tell you, this would be one of those type of places when you go to a wedding and they're like, we don't do shots. Like, you know, because the full bar is being paid. And like,
Yeah.
no shots. And you're like, okay, well then give me a Jameson neat.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? I'm like, give me a full pint glass of Jameson
Yeah,
and
do it.
4 empty cups.
Do it.
Yeah.
I
like
worked
just-
a wedding like that.
Yeah. I've done quite a few weddings like that.
Yeah. And then the one uncle snuck in his own moonshine. Oh my God, that was in Jersey.
Yeah, it was in Jersey.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Where they
she's
were all wearing real tree camo.
Oh my God. And they had the shotgun bullet boutonnieres.
Yes.
What an incredible
It was
wedding.
a whole thing.
What an incredible wedding.
What if they were listening to this right now?
There's no way.
There's no way.
There's no
There's no
way.
crossover there, but it would be very funny.
Listen, if you they own like a fish farm.
In New Jersey.
Yeah, it was like a
New
like
Jersey fish farm.
It was a farm of fish where like they're like feeder fish.
Yeah.
They explained it to me and I was like, this is weird. But
Yeah.
anyway, but if that's you and you're listening, you didn't tip us well. So
As caterers.
as caterers.
Yeah.
So she's getting drunk at the bar.
This has been for us personally, this is the most triggering book we've ever sat through. Like the last book had Bigfoot and lesbians and reality shows.
It was a good time.
And then we watched Traders for
Yeah.
like weeks. This one, I'm like, I can never go back to restaurants.
I'm so glad I got a desk.
I want to kill myself.
That paycheck comes in every week, no matter people like
Oh
me
my
or not.
God. Oh.
Okay, so she's sitting at the bar and a woman comes up to her who she doesn't recognize, but she knows is of the community. And the woman is like, I'm so delighted you're home. And then she's like, oh yeah, cool, thanks. Like, she doesn't really know this lady.
Yeah.
And the lady's like, is he coming? And before Vesper can even figure out what the fuck that meant, the lady gets dragged away by her husband. And she's like, we're so sorry. She's just a little drunk. And like pulls her away.
I have a guess of who he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Vesper asks the bartender for water because the booze, anxiety, the heat is all getting to her.
Yep.
And she realizes that, she hasn't eaten anything today really at all. And so she sees the people walking by with hors d'oeuvres and she starts housing them. She's like, shrimp, crab cakes. Like, she's just like, stand there. Don't move. Like, call your friends. Like, I'm getting it all.
Let me tell you something. If you're ever, this goes out there to the general public. If you are ever in a situation where you are butlering hors d'oeuvres.
Yeah.
And you need to clear that plate before you has to go back to the kitchen. Your boy right here. All right, Mr. Pearlmania right here.
Yeah, he gonna clear
stand
for
next
you.
to me, especially if there's a seafood on. If there's a seafood on there, let's talk all day.
You got a cheesesteak egg roll? You stand near him.
You stand right by me. I will clear that plate. Okay, you come by. Listen, you got 2 left, and you're just trying to figure out how to get rid of those last 2.
Just walk over.
Come talk to your boy. Your boy will put them on a napkin. We'll crunch them up, and then put the napkin to the side. Your boy
welcome.
will do whatever you
You're
need.
welcome.
Because I know you can't be seen doing that.
Yeah.
I know that you can't be seen taking that caprese salad off that plate.
Yeah,
your boy over here,
Yeah.
your boy over here will eat just the mozzarella from the caprese salad, and then toss a tomato into a potted plant nearby. Because I don't fuck with tomatoes like that. But
your girl right here will April Ludgate and
Yeah.
take the bacon and put it in the trash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I might not be able to eat it, but I know you
you'll
need
take
to
it.
clear.
No, you'll eat the bacon, but you'll dump a crostini.
Yeah, I don't
'cause you
have time
can't have
for a
that bread.
crostini.
You can't eat that bread.
But I know that you're having to walk back there and walk around with one thing on your tray for like 30
That
minutes.
nobody wants to touch.
Because once there's one, nobody wants it. They think it's like broken.
Yeah, like what's wrong with that one?
Yeah.
Everyone's touched it. There was 30 on this plate. Now there's only one.
So now you have to walk around with one
29
hors d'oeuvre
hands.
for 30 minutes. Get out of here.
Absolutely not.
Such a specific complaint
So
from
come-
this podcast.
So come find your. That's what
find
we're
your-
saying. Come find your boy. All right. Come find your boy. And I
Yeah.
will. Oh, that's the other thing. I was just at an event where they had butler hors d'oeuvres, and I was like, "Take it." They come by and I'm like, "No, thank you." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up."
Take
You
the
take
food.
them. Someone offers you a crab cake and you say no.
Get out of here.
You're a bad person.
Eat the crab cake. Even if you're allergic. I got an EpiPen.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I'll fucking stab you in the leg.
Vesper starts eating all the
That
snacks,
would be a good.
drinking the water.
Real quick.
Yeah.
If we ever got ad reads,
Yeah.
we would do an EpiPen ad read right there. EpiPens. Eat the crab cake.
Eat the Nutella. Remember my friend that ate the Nutella?
Yeah. She started just stabbing herself.
One of my dear friends is highly allergic to tree nuts.
Yeah.
And
she
really wanted to try Nutella because we had been it was a moment. It was like what, 2006? Everybody was deep in Nutella.
Yeah, it was. Nutella
No,
was
it was like
everywhere.
2010.
It was 2010.
And Nutella was
And we
like
were at
the
beach.
hype.
We were at the beach.
We were at the beach and we were just slathering Nutella on anything we could find. It was just like a moment.
And listen, I'm not a Nutella fan. I was like, girl, it's not worth it. It hurts my teeth.
Yeah.
And she was like, I gotta know.
She just needed to know. And so she pulled out her EpiPen. She slammed a double tablespoon of Nutella. She was like, this is delicious. And then just jammed herself. It was so good.
It was like that scene from Pulp Fiction where they
Yeah.
stabbed the lady with the
She just
adrenaline.
had- but instead of drooling, it was just like a little Nutella coming down the side of her mouth. Incredible moment. Incredible.
Meanwhile, Lady Gaga's blasting in the background.
2010 was a great time.
Yeah, it was like telephone was on and she's just stabbing herself with an EpiPen.
2010 was a great year.
Yeah.
So Grace shows up and is like, are you okay, Vesper? And she's like, I think I need to go inside. It's just so hot out here. It's the summer, by the way. And Grace is like, all right, let me get you some water. And I have some like electrolyte pills. We'll get you up and running, right? So Vesper chills out in the house for a bit just to recuperate, get all of her head straight.
Yeah.
And then heads out to the reception. And when she finds her mom at the reception.
You know it's bad when you're already hammered at the cocktail hour.
Listen.
I'm just saying, you're not even at the reception yet and you're already fucking hammered. Like,
Yeah.
you got hours ahead of you, girl. the DJ hasn't even
This
started.
is a marathon, okay?
Yeah, the DJ hasn't even started and you're already like on the verge of blacking out during the cocktail hour.
Yeah.
The quartet is playing and you feel woozy. That's not good.
It's not good. You got to go upstairs, take a disco nap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, take a little sleepy on a couch somewhere.
So she goes to reception and she finds her mom in a new outfit, tight leather, short dress, weird vibes, right? Constance is avoiding eye contact and fidgeting. And this is notable. Constance doesn't fidget.
Yeah.
Okay. And also Constance isn't afraid of eye contact. She stares at everyone coldly, unabashedly.
Like this.
Yeah. Yep. But make it sexy. Oh. So, as she's like walking through the reception, she sees her mother. The air smells like sulfur, which isn't unheard of in farm areas, right? It smells like that sometimes. So Vesper thinks nothing of it. And she's sitting at the table with her mom, and there's an empty seat nearby. And Vesper's like, who are we holding this for? Right? Like, why is there only 3 of us at this table? It's weird. We should have been at one of the big tables. And Constance is like, you're going to find out soon enough. And orders another glass of wine.
So Constance is slamming wine. It smells like sulfur, and there's an open table like the prophet Elijah is about to come visit.
Yeah.
I kind of feel, I have a feeling.
You have vibes?
I got a little bit of vibes. I'm just going to say, there's some Rosemary Baby type of things that are going on here. There's maybe a little bit of Raven and Trigun type of feel,
So all of a sudden, the room is full of primal screaming. Everyone in the wedding is falling to the ground, screaming bloody murder, slipping out of their chairs, on their hands and knees, screaming at the top of their lungs, right? Like madness reigns.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, a man appears on the dance floor.
Oh, there's a murder on the dance floor?
There's a murder on the dance floor.
Okay.
Handsome, wearing a suit, chiseled jawline.
Of course.
Once he appears in the middle of the dance floor, everyone in the room starts chanting, "Hail Satan."
Because it's the devil.
Yeah. People are clawing at their floor and their own faces. He raises his hand to the room and it goes completely quiet. And in that moment, Vesper looks at him and she's like, Dad?
I knew it.
Yeah.
I've had a feeling for a while.
Yeah.
Once you said it, I was like, listen, there's never just a Satanist cult in a book or a movie that can ever just be like, one that's out there.
Yeah.
They always have to be the one that brings Satan in.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And also, it's always like Satan's daughter or Satan's son. It's always the Antichrist. It's never like a seventh tier demons, like the loser shit demon. You know what I mean? Like, it's never one of those where it's like we were aiming for Satan or Asmodeus or something else. And who we end up with? Steve. Demon Steve.
Good old Demon Steve. What's he do? He just writes in comment sections.
What is he in charge of? Bots on Twitter that say pussy in bio.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he's in charge of?
Yeah.
What does he run? I don't know. It's like...
Where does he work? HR.
Oh, no. What part of HR? Specifically... benefit instructions.
No. So
he's in charge of the training portals.
Oh my god. Not the training portals.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to sit through your PowerPoints. Okay. Yeah. No, he's in charge of reviewing your yearly review that you have to write about yourself.
Demon
Steve. He addresses the crowd and thanks them all profusely for coming, and for being invited himself.
Real quick,
he will talk to everyone later.
Who do you picture as an actor to be standing in as this handsome jawlined the devil?
I was picturing, in my mind, it was between like Brad Pitt. Remember when he played Death?
Yeah.
It was very like the stoicism of that Brad Pitt.
Okay.
But he looked like, was it Pierce Brosnan? Is that it?
Brosnan, yeah.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan. That's who I was picturing.
Okay.
Pierce Brosnan, but like very stoic, like him.
Okay, gotcha.
That's how I was picturing
Gotcha. My first thought was John Hamm, but then like he recently played like the Angel Gabriel in a few things on the Neil Gaiman show. I can't remember the name of it. Good Omens.
Good Omens, yeah.
He was in that. He's played an angel and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I like John Hamm for this. John Hamm for this is good.
Yeah, I feel
he
like
seems likable though.
He needs more suave. I feel like it needs more suave and more controlling.
Controlled and not like handsome, but not likable.
It also feels a little bit more BDSM.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm saying like that weird like I control you with my look type of feel.
Oh, yeah.
That like those BDSM guys try to exude.
Yeah.
It works on some people, but then other people are like, this is weird, man. You're clearly the manager of this GameStop. Like that's a very specific like. There was times when I was working at the mall where I would realize like an assistant manager of like a store would be like, oh, and then like I get a little weird on the weekends. I'm like, yeah, man, you work at Hallmark.
Yeah,
like,
that's fine.
This is Spencer's Gifts, bud.
Whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's your free time. I don't care what you do.
It's just one of those ones where it's a really weird thing to allude and like try to push off the vibes that you're bigger than. It's like, yeah, on Tuesdays, you still have to reshelve the dildos at Spencer's.
Yeah.
Like
Gotta dust them. Gotta dust them. They're dusty.
They're dusty.
They gotta dust the dildos. So,
this is my favorite. Listen, it's not my favorite book, but this is my favorite book club episode so far. I'm still number one in my heart's always going to be Patricia.
yeah.
I think she wins. She reigns. I'm enjoying this though.
So he addresses the crowd and he's like, "Thank you so much. I will talk to everyone." Because again, he's very important, very popular. He's like, "I'll talk to everyone, but I need to go catch up with my daughter. I haven't seen her in 10 years. And we all know how important a father-daughter relationship is." And Vesper in her mind's like, "It's been 14 years."
It's been longer. Yeah. Okay.
You got the wrong number, man.
Yeah.
So he sits down at the table, and while he sits down at the table, he lets her know that he is Lucifer, god of the underworld, the man the entire religion she grew up in is based around. And Vesper's like, "Oh, so my dad's crazy. He's a lunatic."
She doesn't believe he's actually the devil. She's
just like, "Oh,
this guy's an asshole."
She's like, "You abandoned me with my asshole mom, and now you're trying to tell me you're the devil to get out of just being like a shitty dad."
Yeah. This is amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. That is good.
She fully does not believe it. She thinks he's just a guy who's in the cult that has been avoiding responsibility, but now he like has psychosis that makes him think he's the devil, and that everybody believes him because he's a charismatic leader.
Gotcha. Yeah. Because she didn't see him like she quote he appeared, but he didn't materialize.
He didn't materialize.
Like so, she's like, this is some weird magic trick thing.
He was on the dance floor. Everybody started screaming and fell to the ground. Boom, he's standing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like she's just like
she hasn't seen a miracle.
Yeah. So he was like, "Listen, you would have." She's just like, "I don't understand why you didn't come see me sooner, blah, blah. You could have told me this sooner, obviously, if you're really the devil." And he's like, "Well, you would have met me at your confirmation when you turned 18, but you had run away before then."
Gotcha.
Right? So they have a brief catch up because in the religion, I guess, at your confirmation ceremony, you would go through the mass, and in it you get to meet Satan as part of the confirmation ceremony. So everybody in the church got confirmed. They have this brief catch up. And also Constance, her mom, and him are like immediately making out. Like just like immediately.
Oh, she's just
Constance is like, "Bet my boy's back."
Gotcha.
They're like in each other's faces making out. Vesper's very uncomfortable by
That's why Mama was acting so weird.
Yeah.
It was because Mama was like, I'm about to feel the touch of a man.
So while they're making out, Vesper has this awful realization, which is that everyone in Hell's Gate, everyone she's grown up with her entire life, knew. They knew that he was her dad.
Yeah.
And no one's ever said anything to her.
That's why that one lady was like, "Is he coming?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone in the religion knows this man, believes he is Satan, and no one's ever told her, but she also got a lot of special treatment growing up.
Yeah.
And she is fully going through crisis in this moment.
Gotcha.
But coming to this realization, crisis. So Vesper and her devil dad, go to the dance floor because he's like, "Let me have a dance." And they're having a dialogue about how she's feeling. And he's very much like, "This is your legacy. You're never going to be able to get away from this, no matter how hard you try." And she is like having such a hard time. And like she feels drunk and sick and anxiety. Like everything is hitting her all at once. And she's with her dad, who she hasn't seen in 14 years.
After being in her mom's room that she hasn't seen since she was 3.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
She's having a time.
I got it.
So he's like, and this is a quote, "Your very existence, your entire purpose is validation of what you deny. You are the harbinger of the apocalypse."
Gotcha.
And she's like, "This feels like a lot." Okay. So she leaves. She storms out because he's also like, it's a veiled threat. Like, you'll never be able to leave. You're never getting away from me.
It's not veiled.
Yeah. It's threat.
It's just a straight up a threat.
And all the psychobabble. And so she heads back to the house and starts packing her bags. She's like, "Fuck this.
Yeah.
Fuck this." Right.
You just told me I'm the Antichrist.
So Rose is on the porch of the house. The bride, somehow not at her reception, is at the porch. And she's begging her to stay. Right. And she has this whole conversation with Rose. She's like, "You knew that was my dad." She's like, "Yeah, I found out at my confirmation, but you were already gone. So like, it didn't seem like something I should tell you." Like, I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
write you a letter and be like, hey, by the way, your dad's the devil.
Also, you wouldn't believe me in that
Yeah.
way. If you received a letter that was like, "Hey,
Just
you know
so
your
you
family you're
know.
estranged from, your dad is the devil," you'd be like, "Yeah, he's an asshole. He's not around." Like
Yeah.
that would be your reaction
Also,
to it.
where would she write the letter to? Because no one knew where she was.
But also on top of that, though, like again, it would be one of those things like where you're responding to a text in a different voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're like, your dad is Satan. He is literally the devil. He is actually a fallen angel who is the prince of hell.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I get it. He's an asshole.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
he's a deadbeat dad.
He sucks.
Yeah.
So she packs her bag and calls an Uber home.
Okay.
Okay, she oobs. She gets back on New Jersey Transit. You got to be really
She-
mad to
wait.
take New Jersey Transit back to Westchester, New York.
Wait. She just gets right on the train?
Yeah, no, she like goes, packs her bag.
You will never be able to escape us. Okay.
Okay, bye,
She
bye,
gets-
peace out.
I'm gonna hop on.
Who the fuck you think you are? I can't leave.
Yeah.
What?
I'll go to the one place the devil can't find me. The Hoboken, New Jersey.
Shorties. Shorties in Westchester.
I was gonna say the Hoboken, New Jersey train station.
So the scene cuts.
Honestly, it's Trenton, New Jersey.
Trenton.
The Trenton, New Jersey train station. I want to let you all know after 10:30 p.m.
Don't do it.
Is the scariest place I've ever been in my entire life.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I ever went there, I was taking a train, New Jersey train station to New York City. I drove over to Trenton, got the train. When I got on the train in the morning, there were children giggling. There was a clown giving out balloons. There were grandmas.
Yeah.
And there was just like an ice cream truck.
Yeah.
And when I caught the train home and I got to New Jersey Trenton Station on New Jersey Transit at 11 p.m., there was a building had collapsed.
Yep.
There were 2 police cars with police not in them, but with the lights on.
Yep. Mhm.
That were sitting in front of a collapsed building.
Sure.
There were just like scary men skittering around. And I finally like rushed to my car. I get in my car and I lock the doors. And that's when I heard this scraping noise. And I looked up behind me. I'm in a parking garage. I look up behind me and there was a man dragging chains, big, heavy chains. And he's just slowly walking through this parking garage. And they're not like around his neck. He's just like, they're like kind of like draped across him. And he has some like in his hands. And they're heavy, like bike chains.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of them. And like as he walks by, he stopped directly behind my car and looked into my eyes through the rearview mirror as I'm looking at him because I haven't started the car yet. My key is dangling in front of the keyhole, the ignition
Yeah.
of my car. And I was like, what the fuck? And he just went, And then he kept walking further up the garage, not down. Not out of the garage.
No.
He went deeper into the garage.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to leave.
You got to get out.
And I've never fled a place before. But Trenton, New Jersey, after
yeah.
10:30 p.m. on New Jersey Transit,
yeah, absolutely.
terrifying.
So
it was my own personal escape room. That is a total city.
Horrifying. That's scarier than some of the books I read. That
Yeah.
just one experience.
Yeah, that was it.
So we cut scene. She's back in her apartment hanging out with Carrie.
Yeah, I get that.
Carrie's brought over some brekkie sandwiches.
Yep.
And they're gossiping about the new manager. They got a new manager at Shorty's named
Yeah.
George. Carrie has a huge crush on him already.
Okay.
Because of course. And since there's a new manager, Carrie's like, I'm sure I'll hire you back. He doesn't know Rick or why Rick fired you. So I'll talk to him when I go into my shift today and
Yeah.
we'll see if we'll hire you back.
It's also one of those things too where like the firing happened so quickly and probably wasn't processed properly.
Yeah.
That she might still actually be on the schedule.
Yeah, perfect.
That's what I mean.
She
Like it
already
could
has
be
the-
one of those.
she already has the
like,
shirt.
don't even ask the question.
She has an apron?
Yeah, don't even. But I'm saying, like, don't even ask the question. Like, just be like, "Oh, you forgot to put my friend on the schedule." Like that on the bit. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, she was fired at the end of a shift. The only person who knows is the manager. Even the kitchen staff didn't know.
Yeah.
And then the next day, Rick was fired, possibly before even the staff showed up.
Yeah.
So the only person who might know would be Carrie.
And Carrie,
I'm just saying, I would pull this off.
you would definitely pull this off. I don't know if Carrie would.
Yeah.
She ends up taking Carrie.
Well, her ex-boyfriend has a snake.
She ends up going back to Shorty's with Carrie.
Yeah.
She goes to meet with George the next day, who is described in the book as, this is quote, 5'10", sinewy, with a curly mullet and a striking, beautiful face. So I, of course, pictured him as Curtis Connor.
I was gonna say it's Curtis Connor.
It's
It's Curtis
Connor.
Connor. Yeah, it's Curtis Connor
like
from
immediately
YouTube.
Curtis Connor.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I'm glad we're both on.
Yeah,
That's Curtis Connor.
The second you said mullet, I was like Curtis Connor, and then you
Yeah.
said beautiful. I was like, I don't know if she's gonna say
Nope,
Curtis
Curtis
Connor.
Connor,
All
absolutely.
right. Oh, really? That's gonna fall under beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. I learned a lot about you right now. You don't know what a G-bong is, and you think Curtis Connor is beautiful. All All right. Eye-opening episode. I'm glad we have this hidden in the last hour and a half. Let me put my feet up here. No one's ever going to hear this part of it.
You're going to cut this out?
No. I'm leaving it in. I just know from looking at retention rates.
Oh, I see.
Of how long people might actually make it.
So after her first shift back working, Carrie suggests that they all go out for drinks, like the whole staff go out to the local dive nearby.
Yeah.
Because Carrie's trying to set up a situation where she can freely flirt with George and it won't be weird.
Gotcha.
So they all go out for, shifties. And Vesper is there at the bar. It's like, there's a lot going on, but whatever. Vesper gets sick when she hears a song on the jukebox that reminds her of her father, and she starts smelling sulfur and panics that they followed her.
That song was "Sympathy for the Devil" by the Rolling Stones.
Wait, I think it might have been.
Oh, really?
No, it was. I think it was like an Aerosmith song. I forget.
Oh. God, your devil sucks. If Aerosmith reminds you.
So no, that means he sucks. He's the devil.
Yeah, so I mean, but he's like a shitty devil, though.
She runs out this back side door of the bar to get fresh air and to get out of the situation, and George follows her and offers her a ride home. So they end up going home together, as is the tradition of restaurant lifestyles. As they're driving, or like when they get back to her apartment, she gets a text from Carrie that's like, "Did you leave with George? How could you do this to me? You are the fucking worst." So Carrie knows what's up.
Yeah, of course Carrie knows what's up.
Because Carrie was trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're in her bedroom doing side work when
the rolling silverware.
The rolling silverware.
Yeah.
But they're marrying ketchup bottles.
Okay. Gotcha. I understand. I understand completely right now. They're putting the chairs on the tables. Understood.
Yeah.
Got it.
So he spots the pentagram necklace on her bedside table and starts asking some questions about it. And for the first time ever, and I think it's probably because of everything she's just been through in the last couple days, she just tells the truth. Like, she's just like, yeah, I was raised in a satanic cult. And it was really weird. And my dad's fucking mentally ill and thinks he's a cult leader. And everybody in the cult thinks he is Satan, and they're nuts. She just lays it all out.
Yeah.
She's just like, whatever.
Yeah. As you do to Curtis Connor.
Yeah. How could you not tell Curtis Connor all of your secrets?
Yeah. He'd just be like, hey, what's that about? And you're just like, Curtis Connor, listen to me. And he's just like, oh, wow, that's weird. He just tries to play it off. He's like, how do I edit this down?
Yeah. A day or so later, she's getting ready to go back to work, and she's like prepping herself because she knows she has to go work with Carrie. And so she's like, I got to apologize to Carrie. This is
also,
really
I told
weird.
George that I'm from a satanic cult.
No, she doesn't even think about that. She's
really?
just mostly worried about the Carrie thing.
Yeah, I get that. That's her friend.
It's her friend. So she's worried about the whole thing. So
her friend who cannot get snake. It feels like, because this is two guys out of that she's mentioned.
Yeah.
Neither of which have hooked up with Carrie.
Well, okay, Carrie.
Yeah.
You're right. I never noticed her batting average till you just pointed it out.
Yeah, she's 0-2 right now.
So she gets the shorties and she tries to apologize, but Carrie won't speak to her. She won't even make eye contact with her. She's not looking at her. And it turns out, here's the thing. Carrie is a really likable and nice, and everybody at the restaurant likes Carrie.
Yeah.
And remember, everybody at the restaurant hates Vesper because she's mean.
Yeah.
So
and Carrie just got Vesper her job back,
Exactly.
and then she immediately fucked the manager.
Yeah. So
which means, you know what that is?
What?
That's lack of solidarity.
Lack of team, not a team player.
Yeah, she's not a team player.
Actually, it is a team player, because if you're for the team and you fuck the manager, you know how you're going to help everybody get scheduled. You're going to close early when it's raining.
No.
Helpful.
No.
No? Okay.
Absolutely not. Because you know what it is? Now she's on the manager's side.
Oh, you can't be on the enemy's side.
Yeah, because she's with management.
Yeah.
She's not an employee like the rest of us.
Yeah.
If anything, she's a scab.
Whoa.
Yep.
So,
and a shill.
Carrie won't look at her, won't talk to her, and Carrie has rallied the troops. So everyone's being rude to her. The hostess won't seat her. Her food orders keep getting messed up or not being put in properly. The bussers aren't cleaning her tables. Like, this is the worst shit.
So what you're telling me is this is the longest day at Shorty's impossible?
Yes.
Okay.
Vesper has like a mini panic attack because she sees a man sitting at Shorty's bar that looks just like her dad, and she goes into the bathroom to take a breath and gather herself when she sees this guy. Carrie comes into the bathroom to confront her. Okay. and this is the last time I'm going to read out of this book directly, but Carrie's monologue is so good that I need to read it to you. Okay. So she bursts in the bathroom. She opens the bathroom stall where Vesper is and is like talking at her, kind of. Carrie says, "When you started here, I tried to figure you out. I thought you were just like a textbook pretty girl, popular in high school, got away with everything because of your looks. I wondered why you didn't model or do pharmaceutical sales or something. You're so pretty. You work hard, but you're not ambitious. You're snobby and you're mean, but it's not like intentionally mean. Like you don't even realize how mean you are, but you also don't care. Sometimes I'd feel bad for you, like I felt bad for Rick. Like, wow, their lives must be so sad. Like, why is she like this? I didn't get it. And I felt bad that you got fired. I really did, because I'm an empath. So I like felt it. The stuff with your family, it makes sense to me. Like, okay, maybe there's something dark in her past. Maybe that's why she's not super friendly. She has her walls up, but I didn't realize the extent of it. But now I get it. I told you how I felt about George. When I was at your place comforting you, I brought you a bagel. I was done with you, but now that I know, recently I was just done with you, but now that I know, now that I have the full context, it all makes sense. What context? What makes sense? George told me everything, and I'm sorry. I'm not a great keeper of secrets. You know that about me. You grew up in a satanic cult. No wonder you have no social skills.
Bitch. I just want to say the line of telling her, why didn't you do pharma sales?
That's why I had to do it.
Fucking iconic.
Thank you for knowing exactly why I had to read the monologue. You're so pretty. You could have done pharmaceutical sales. It's such a fucking line. It's so perfect.
That's iconic.
It's so perfect.
That's the best line. I would say, listen, again, Patricia's still my favorite book. Patricia Needs a Cuddle still my favorite book. That is the best line you've ever read from any of these books. That is so fucking specific. Also, I'm an empath.
Incredible. Carrie, incredible character.
I love this. We're serving.
As she's saying this, Vesper is filling with rage because Vesper is realizing that George has told Carrie, which means everyone knows because Carrie doesn't keep secrets well.
Yeah, which means she has to move again.
Yeah. So she's so pissed off and angry and hurt and all of the things. And
oh no, she's going to lose Westchester, New York.
As she's raging out, the bathroom starts to smell like sulfur, which I was like, farts, so bathroom.
Yeah.
But Carrie steps towards Vesper, and they have walked out of the bathroom stall by this point. They're just like standing in the bathroom. And as she steps towards Vesper, she slips on water on the floor and slams her face into the bathroom sink.
Carrie does. Her
mouth was open from yelling at her while this happens. So as she falls, when her face slams, all of her front teeth smash on the marble and go everywhere.
Oh no! Satan powers just activated.
Vesper is trying to help gather paper towels to stop the bleeding and like freaking out. And a customer comes in and sees what happened and screams. And then coworkers come in and they make a comment like, "You fucking devil ass bitch!" Like, because now it's a known thing.
Yeah.
Vesper leaves the bathroom and goes to find George to confront him on, telling. And it's so funny because she's so mad at him for telling the secret. And I have to give him this one because he was like, "Wait, what? You didn't say it was a secret. I didn't know it was a secret."
Yeah.
You just told me we just met. Yeah. And it's like, fair enough. Like,
it's the first thing you said to me.
Yeah.
After we fucked.
Yeah. It's like you didn't say it was don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I thought you told everybody.
Yeah.
And so we find out that like apparently Carrie had gone in to bitch about Vesper and he was like, "No, just take it easy on her, man. Like she had a really hard childhood."
Yeah.
And Carrie's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, like she grew up in like a satanic cult, man. Like she has a rough time." And so like it was like that, right? So
I love this.
Yeah.
I love that. That's good writing.
Yeah. So
Rachel Harrison, you've done good work here.
She leaves work.
That's human.
Human.
What you just described is an actual.
That's what Curtis Connor would do.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's also like a
just kidding,
human.
I don't know.
It's just also like that's just a human thing of just like, yeah, he made an assumption because like you didn't tell him to not that it's been a big secret or any of these different things. He's walking into interpersonal relationships that have been existing for at least a year.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, yeah, I'm just like the new manager. And then immediately the hottest girl who works here slept with me and then was like mentioned her trauma. I guess that's her thing.
Yeah,
like,
she just tells people that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I guess that's her thing. She just fucking trauma dumps on people.
Yeah. So she leaves work and she goes to the dive bar where they all go to drink and collect herself.
Yeah.
And while she's there, her father shows up.
Oh no, the devil.
He's talking to her about her legacy, yada yada, and she's like, no thank you, and goes outside for air. And she's walking down this alleyway and she can hear her dad's voice, and she sees a guy in the edge of the alleyway, and she calls out to him, right? She's like, Dad, what? Stop, like, leave me alone, right? But as she gets closer, because she's walking towards him, it's not her dad, it's George. But her dad's voice is all around her. And her dad is like, aren't you pissed? Doesn't he deserve to suffer? Doesn't he deserve to pay for what he did to you? And he's hyping up her rage, right?
Yeah.
He's like, he deserves to be destroyed. What does he love that deserves to be destroyed, Vesper? Like, it's just in her mind, and she's looking at George. And she's not saying anything, but in her mind, she's like, his hands, because we had learned earlier, George is a musician, of course. That's why he has a mullet. He's a musician.
Yeah.
And so she's like, in her mind, she's like, it's his hands, because if he didn't have his hands, he couldn't play music, and then he'd be miserable, right?
Yeah.
And like the Ghostbusters movie, you weren't supposed to think of anything.
Yeah.
It's the Marshmallow Man. How could he possibly hurt us? As she's thinking this, his hands start cracking and screaming, and she can hear his bones breaking as he falls to the ground, right? And she's like, what the fuck is happening?
My bonitis.
And her dad's still talking to her in her head, and he's like, you're so powerful. You did that. And she's like, no, I didn't. And her dad's like, don't you remember the nacho cheese when you were mad at that guy? Don't you see that you made Carrie fall? Your anger has direct repercussions.
Oh, you better go to therapy, girl.
Yeah. So they have this whole conversation, and like, for some reason, she agrees to go with her dad at this point. Like, she's feeling the power. She's feeling the rage. She's very in the moment, and she's like, fine. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
And so they drive back to fucking New Jersey together, her and her dad.
Yeah.
They go to Constance's house. But she's still feeling hella weird, right? Like, she's still, this is a lot for her. So a lot of emotions, anxiety, anger. And she's like, you know what? I'm here, but I'm not happy about it. So she just goes back up to the 3rd floor and goes back to bed. She wakes up the next morning with a terrible headache, and she goes downstairs to get some breakfast. And they're setting up for like another event, like another party. And she sees Grace, who makes her some eggs, and is like, oh, you're sick. I'll get you some aspirin, whatever. So she's trying to eat. But she's so dizzy, and she ends up like just passing out, right? She wakes up, comes to, if you will, and Rose is there, and Rose is dressed to the nines. She's like got a flower crown on, she's looking beautiful, and she's sing-songing while she opens the windows and curtains like a Disney princess. And she's like, time to wake up for your birthday, like blah blah, sleepyhead. And Vesper's like, isn't my birthday? Like, whatever. Like, she's just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And as she wakes up, she looks down, she realizes she's in a big frilly dress.
Yeah. And Vesper's not Rose is dressed like midsummer, it sounds like.
Yeah, midsummer. Okay. And Vesper wakes up and she's in a big frilly black dress, which in my mind felt was like the red wedding dress from Beetlejuice, but black.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I understand what you're picturing. I've been kind of picturing like Wednesday Addams core this entire time, but like when Wednesday Addams is told to girl it up, type of feel.
No,
I know what you're talking about.
Vesper actually looks like what did you say? Rosemary's Baby. She looks blonde, pixie cut, very thin.
Okay.
Very that with a nose piercing.
Yeah.
Just like thin, very beautiful pixie cut white girl.
Gotcha.
So she wakes up and she's in this big dress, and Rose is helping her stand up, and she's in a lot of pain, and she realizes that like the dress is corseted. So it's got like this tight corset.
Gotcha.
And she's like, how the fuck how did this happen? Number one, how did I get back to Jersey? She doesn't remember going with her dad.
Yeah.
She's blacked out from the power surge or whatever. Now she's in a different outfit. How the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
Why is Rose here? Like, it's like all these things are
There's
going on.
nothing scarier than waking up in different clothes.
Yep.
Like, to me, like, it's like, okay, who changed me?
Yeah.
How far did we go in the change?
Uh-huh.
Did you change my underwear? Because that means you saw
stuff.
You saw pole and hole
And
without
things.
my permission, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
So that's terrifying.
So she doesn't remember anything, but she does remember that when she was eating breakfast that Grace gave her the aspirin, and she thinks Grace drugged her, and that's when she passed out.
Yeah.
So she is forced lovingly downstairs. Like, come on, guys, we got to go downstairs. She's still foggy and groggy. And her father does like this whole speech at like this big table.
The devil.
The devil does this big speech. And she realizes that this is not her birthday party. It is, in fact, an apocalypse dinner party. And she's sitting at the table next to her dad, and her mom's on the other side. And he's making this speech about the new coming world. And everyone's eating, but he's not eating what everybody else is eating. He's eating like this little steak, and it looks really bloody and raw, and like it's making Vesper gag because she's like looking at it. She's like, oh, like she's so sick.
Yeah.
And she's looking at her food, and she doesn't want to eat that either. And in that moment of like looking at her dad and like looking at the surroundings and everything's happening, she finds some sympathy for her mom, because she realizes that like her mom is third generation and grew up in this cult, and like her dad is ancient, right? Like he's the devil.
Yeah.
And her mom
Never
got pregnant when she was like very young and like was indoctrinated early. So like her mom is a victim in this, and she's coming to the realization of like this deep indoctrination that lives in their family.
Aw, grandma, you little victim. Like that meme?
Very that.
Yeah, it's very that.
So she's telling her mom, she's telling her dad, she's telling everybody at the table that she doesn't feel well and she needs to get out of this fucking corset because it's hurting her and she can't breathe and she's panicking and she's sick and it hurts.
Yeah.
And her father, everyone's ignoring her. Her father claps and is like, dinner's over. We must move the festivities over to the large barn church area. And so they all head outside, led by the devil, and Vesper can barely walk. Like she's so sick. And also whatever drugs they gave her are just making her so out of it. So she's being held up while she walks, and she trips over a tree root because they're outside. And when she's like collecting herself to stand up, she touches her side of her body, and she realizes she's bleeding a lot, and she didn't know she was bleeding. And they take her inside of the church. They all go inside of the barn church. And she's brought up to the altar with her father, who's basically holding a mass, and she's bleeding a lot and she's dizzy from the blood loss. Now we realize it's the blood loss that's causing this dizziness.
Yeah.
And she tells her dad that she's like, I'm bleeding. I feel sick and dizzy. And he's like, don't worry about it. Like, you're half immortal. It's fine. Right. And
half immortal is that's a crazy, that's a,
you'll be fine. You're half immortal.
Hey, your only weakness is bullets and not breathing. What?
Damn it. As his sermon goes on, he says, this is a quote, the tie has come to reap, the earth ready for harvest. We who overcometh shall inherit all things. Behold the Lamb. And in that moment, Vesper remembers the teachings of her youth. Blood of the Lamb, blood of the eternal covenant, which shall be sacrificed to purge the world by fire. And she's like, oh, shit.
She's the sacrifice.
She is the Lamb, right? And he then says, quote, I have consumed the body of the Lamb and provide its rib as an offering for the legions of hell. Flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. And he holds up a bone, a rib. And that's when the realization hits her like a fucking truck that her side is bleeding. Because
they took her rib.
And she rips open her dress to see a gaping wound poorly stitched up where her rib used to be. And that he had been eating her flesh off of the rib.
And that was the raw meat that he was eating at the dinner.
So he spoke of how her blood would be used to open the seal to the portal of hell to bring about the apocalypse for the cleansing fire.
Okay.
And Vesper is embarrassing him by not being enthusiastic about this. This is like something he's also saying. He's like, you're supposed to want this. You're supposed to like be.
It makes it weird when you're this pale.
You're supposed to be like excited about being part of this.
Say yay, daddy.
He slits her throat.
Oh.
And she bleeds out and dies on the altar.
Whoa.
Right. So.
What, the main character?
Yeah, Vesper. Done. Next chapter. Her eyes are open.
What?
Yeah, she's back, baby. She's alive. She feels kind of great now, though, because like she's not sick or anxious anymore. But she does realize she died. She's like, my dad murdered me.
Did she kill he killed the mortal half of her?
I guess so. She wakes up, she comes to, and she is actually on fire. Like she can see the flames surrounding her body.
Yeah.
The portal of hell is open in front of her eyes. And she can see into it, and it's horrifying. It is described in detail. It is horrifying, the things that are coming out and things she's seeing in there, right? she's taking it all in. The mass is still happening around her. They're praying, Hail Satan. Like, no one's looking at her body that's like laying in a puddle of blood, even though it's on fire and that she's conscious now, right? And she opens and closes her fist and realizes very quickly that she can make fire out of her hands, like Spider-Man, right? It's like fire. And she's like,
that's not like Spider-Man.
No, she's like, fire.
I was going to say more like Phoenix.
Fire.
Okay, stop going fire.
No, that's what I'm doing. Fire.
No, stop. But you said like Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's like with the, he does the thwip. Spider-Man's a thwip.
Fire.
No, it's, I hate you so much.
I know. So.
Was it like?
Fire.
Okay.
So she starts pointing her palms. I wrote a note here. She starts pointing her palms like Spider-Man at the fire, at the portal.
That's like Iron Man, but like a laser blast, like. You're just,
I don't think I can do it again. I don't think I can do it again.
Okay.
So she's like, looks at the portal and she goes, fire. So she sees things that are flying out of the portal and she starts shooting fire at them too. Like little bugs and like demons and shit. She's shooting fire at them too. But what's happening is the portal's getting angrier and widening faster than it was before and eating the room. So the church pews are going into the portal. The pentagrams on the walls are flying down. The stained glass is shattered and falling into the portal. And then Grace falls into the portal.
Aunt Grace.
Aunt Grace and other people.
It's okay, dear.
It's gonna be fine.
It's what we always wanted.
And so her mom walks up to her without any emotion, just strides up to her without any emotion and hands her a hairpin. And the hairpin has a lot of meaning. It's like from a movie or whatever. And she just says to her, draw blood. And then basically walks into the portal to the pit of hell like the red carpet. Just like saunters over and just walks into it. Not even a jump, just walks into it unafraid, right? Also, this whole time, the devil is yelling at her. You're not as powerful as I am. You can't do anything. Just accept your fate. Stop fighting me, right? Like the whole time. And she's just still just like shooting fire, right? So he's pissed.
Confused too. She's not even like, oh, I know exactly what to do. She's just kind of going, all right, blast here, blast there. I don't like that bug's coming this way.
Gross. So he's saying all the things that villains say, right? Like, you're not powerful enough to beat me, blah, blah, blah. And in this moment, Vesper's just trying to figure out how to close the portal. So, because it's eating the whole room and it's about to eat her too. Like, everybody in the church is falling into the portal.
Yeah.
Everything is being eaten by the portal. Church barn. And she wants to figure out how to close it. And she has this moment in her brain where she's like, my blood opened the portal. Maybe it could close it. So she takes the hairpin and she stabs her own hand as hard as she can and then pours her blood into the portal. And it quickly and quietly disappears. Like and everything's just quiet and gone. And she's alone.
That's the noise Spider-Man makes, by the way.
What was that?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
great.
how his like squirt, his like spider web shooter is supposed to be. So it'd be like...
The church barn, this half of the episode is just noises.
Yeah.
So the church barn collapses around her from the fire and all of the
the structural
pit
damage.
shenanigans that happen.
Pit shenanigans.
Yeah.
That would be the name of our bar.
Yeah, pit shenanigans.
Just go in there. It's just a rage room that only sells.
You can get drunk and then smash
We
stuff.
only sell Coors Light, Miller Lite, Fireball, and Jägermeister. And when you walk in, we give you an axe handle.
No, but also fountain soda, Diet Coke with the Pebble Ice. Yeah, okay.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. And
Welcome to Pit Shenanigans.
Pit Shenanigans. Ooh, they have Pebble Ice? I'm in.
It's the ultimate escape room.
So she crawls her way out of the mess. And as she's walking away from it, she stands up and she's walking away. She feels eyes on her from behind. And she panics because she thinks it's her dad. She feels something staring at her. And she turns around. And there's a little lamb right there.
Little lamb.
Little lamb.
Meh.
She picks it up. She kisses it on the head. And that's the end of the scene. Cut to the epilogue. Vesper is visiting her mother's house years and years and years later, right? It's now a museum and an attraction. And there's currently a movie premiere. It's a documentary movie about the true story of the abandoned village from the Devil's Cult. The reality documentary.
Oh.
She wanders around the house, which is a museum. There's people talking about all the things on the walls. And she's like, they're getting none of it right.
Yeah.
They've made up a lot of story that they don't know. She goes and watches the movie. There's actually an interview with a woman who had left the cult, who had been part of the documentary years before. Vesper didn't know her, but she knew of her because it was a big deal when somebody left the cult. So she was on like a panel. It was like a Comic-Con almost discussion. And so this woman's on the panel talking about it. And people are asking the questions, and they're like asking her questions about what it was like to be in the cult and blah, blah. And they're like, there's a lot of people that think that, that Constance had a daughter. Now there's no proof of it. There's no birth certificates. There's no proof that she had a daughter, but there's some people that say that she had a daughter and that that she survived this. And the woman was like, nope, I don't know anything about that. But Vesper knows that she would have known that Constance. So like she has this thought process of like, this woman is afraid that Vesper still exists, so she won't speak on her.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Because if the daughter of the devil exists, this woman's like, I'm not getting on her bad side. Thank you. I'm here for a panel. I'm getting paid $500. I'm not getting the devil on my bad side.
Yeah, they comped my room.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In the old Victorian house. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So she walks around, and then in the back where the barn was, she wanders out there, and there's a big grave plaque that had been put up for all the lost souls of the Devil's Gate, and she places the hairpin and the picture of her father on the thing, and this is it. She's leaving, never to return again. This is her final farewell. And in that moment, she hears her mother's voice telling her to turn around and never return. Her mom's always telling her to leave. Yeah. Turn around, never return. And then she starts to smell sulfur. And she just leaves. She's like, that's it. I'm not dealing with it. And she turns around and walks away. And that's the end of the book.
Okay. I like that. It's a good ending.
Yeah.
That's a good ending.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good book.
I love that it ended with like a horror con documentary movie about the cult.
Yeah, with a little true crime.
Yeah, a little true crime.
There's a little true crime. There's a lot I liked about this.
Yeah.
It is, I like Patricia more because Patricia was just wacky.
Yeah, she's a kook. I loved it.
I love that book a little more. This was also very, very good.
Yeah.
You did a very good job with this.
Thank
I now
you.
understand why you spent so many hours with this shortened, abridged version to get it down because there was a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot I didn't even get into.
Yeah.
Because like I said earlier, this book takes a really interesting perspective on deconstruction and like what it means to leave these types of churches and religions.
And also that thing where you cut off family.
Yeah.
What's that called?
Going no contact?
Yeah, no contact. Yeah. Also all those different things. Like I think it had a really interesting way of how it handled those different things. I liked that when her dad was like, I'm the devil, she was like, he's just some narcissistic asshole.
Psychopath,
I loved that.
Yeah.
And even when she's like dealing with like, I think the ending, I'm sure that there was a little bit more foreshadowing that was cut out, but like the ending, like rapid fire, like how fast that felt. Like I felt like if this was like a 6-part miniseries, that, the final episode, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I think what I was picturing, we were talking about the lady at the end in the panel and be like, and some people said she had a daughter. Oh, I don't think she did. And then she makes eye contact with her. Yeah. That's what I would have written in, that they locked eyes.
Yeah.
And that like, now she has like a little bit of Satan power. She's like, I can read minds, like weird shit like that, like those type of things. I do like the idea that her mom was a total bitch to her, but at the end, like gave her the thing, gave her the hairpin and was like, draw blood. And it was like, clear that the mom can't escape the cycle, but also was like pushing her away to break it.
Yeah.
Like she could never directly say like, you need to get out of here. You're going to be used as the portal to hell.
Yeah.
But she could do that. I like that.
Yeah.
I think that was interesting. It does not allow me to forgive her mom because her mom's still obviously a bad person.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little thing. So it helps her sleep a little bit better.
And I think in the book itself, again, because I'm only telling you my experience with it, is like they really deep dive into the hurt she feels in the relationships and the way that her trust has been broken with like Grace and Rosie and like what it's like to be in a religion where that people think you're the worst and then they lie to you and like all this stuff. So it was super interesting and very worth the read. It was a very quick read, honestly. I got reading it done within like 2 train rides to the city. So very quickly. Yeah. But writing this up took more time because I wanted to be succinct.
Yeah. I mean, It's a good book. I mean, it's a good size as well. You guys can see the thickness there. If you're watching us on YouTube or Patreon, we are still in a note about that.
Yeah.
We're going to try to keep this as audio forward as possible.
Yeah, of course.
Our number one bread and butter and how we feel is that this is an audio podcast that we are adding a visual component to. So I just want to make it clear to everybody. So we're going to try to say like, hey, we're holding the book up and describing it and stuff like that. But I think this was a very, very good book. I'm glad the team leaders, the Hey Huns, and the feds that voted for this, they picked a really good one.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so fun to read.
I think it was a very, very fun. I'll never get over the pharma sales. You're pretty enough to do pharma sales. Is the
such
pharma
a
sales
line.
is
That could be a
such
t-shirt.
fucking
You're
line.
pretty enough to do pharma sales.
I fucking loved this. I think it was so great. It definitely. You've never picked a book that has triggered us more.
Yeah. Oh.
Because I want to say we're just over 2 hours now.
Yeah.
And I want to say about 15 minutes of this is us both just screaming restaurant stories.
Yeah,
And just restaurant experiences.
Oh.
But like, if I was the Antichrist, but also had to put up with a four top that walked in 20 minutes before close, I would
Nacho
trigger.
cheese to the face. Nacho cheese to the face.
No. I would trigger Armageddon.
Yeah.
I wouldn't stop. That would be the moment.
Let me open
Nacho
this
cheese to the
portal.
face is the minimum.
Yeah.
It is the minimum, and it is very much like a haha, you deserve that. But on top of that, I would also end the entire world. After I've been tricked into a close.
Yeah.
After my friend guilted me into a close. And like, yeah, I know everybody likes Carrie, but fuck Carrie. That's my feeling about it.
Yeah.
Vesper.
I know that everyone likes Carrie. I like that we just are like, no, everyone likes Carrie. But also.
Everyone likes Carrie, but also Carrie knows that everybody likes her, and she uses that as a weapon.
Worst.
But no, this was great. I love this. This was
Awesome.
fun.
I'm glad we had a great time. And if you ever want to keep up to date with the book club, please follow my Instagram at Mrs. Pearlmania 500 because I do all of our book club episode updates there.
Yes, 100%. And obviously for me, Pearlmania 500 on Instagram, TikTok, on all these other different things. Now, with that, we have a bunch of people we want to thank for bringing this episode to all of the peoples.
Let's do it.
Pearlmania, 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 Pearlmania.
500.net, as we've said throughout the show, is how you can get to our Patreon and how you can join us to help us keep this show going. And we want to thank all of our listeners and followers and everybody else who's joined us. And we have a lot of names to read through here.
Let's go.
We have 14. So I'm going to start off with born_from_the_last_rainbow_at_the_end_of_time.
Wow.
That is a very long name.
I like it though.
Born from the last rainbow at the end of time.
That's
a
like
good name.
that sounds like a cool book I'd read.
I think it might be from a
it's
book.
probably from a book.
It's
You're
probably a reference that we are unaware of, and then they will message us through Patreon because that is the number one way to reach us.
Yes.
The next part one, we have my_mom_kicked_Hulk_Hogan_out_of_her_IHOP.
And this is why I don't show up 40 minutes before close.
Yeah, and then your mom
because
kicks
her mom's gonna kick you out of the goddamn IHOP, Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. That's amazing.
I bet he was an asshole.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
doesn't tip
100%
well.
sure that he was a total dick. And he'd be like, listen here, brother. I just defeated Andre the Giant, and you're out here talking about how I need to tip 18%. Hulk gets 20 now. Listen, all I'm saying.
I can't eat at IHOP because they put pancake batter in the eggs.
I know, you've told me
That's
about
hateful.
that. Yeah,
Hateful
just a
behavior,
little
guys.
bit of gluten.
Just a little touch.
And they're like, it makes it a little fluffier.
And I'm
We're
like, I don't want to die today, okay?
yeah. The next one is Dave Ramsey's Thick-Thighed Nightmare _queer edition with sparkles. I love that one.
I'm obsessed with that.
So I made a TikTok that was a Too Many Tabs TikTok specifically, like for promos on that side of things. So I was fucking around with it. And the first one I made was about Dave Ramsey.
Yep.
And now every day TikTok emails me to be like, hey, just so you know, Dave Ramsey made another video.
Oh my God.
Because it's like you've interacted with him. So I've only made like 2 videos, and one of them was interacting with Dave Ramsey.
How dare you.
So now TikTok is dumb enough to think that I enjoy Dave Ramsey. After that, we have Poor Gollum was pre-potato.
Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next one, warthog-orgyfart.edu.
Is that a link?
I think
You
it
gonna
might
click
be.
it? Are you going to click it?
I'm afraid to.
click it.
I'm afraid to. Nope, nothing there.
Oh, but anyway, hey, hon.
To warthog.orgyfart.edu.
I want to go to that class. It's a class. It's .edu.
It's a .edu. That's a college.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
I want to take
that is a learning
Warthog
institution.
Orgy Fart 101.
After that, we have Harrison Aracho. Orocho. There we go.
Orocho.
He wrote it in next to it.
Wow,
I read it
really,
wrong.
it's right there.
Harrison
Hey, hon.
Orocho. I apologize. After that, we have Mr. Pearl's foot fungus. Listen here, you son of a bitch. I haven't had foot fungus in 20 years. All right? You know how I got around that? You know how I worked against foot fungus? When it's really hot outside, I wear sandals, okay? Because sunlight does a lot. Also, my wife turned me on to foot sprays.
There it is.
So occasionally I, blast it with that. And second, my foot feels a little bit itchy.
Yeah, it's nice.
After
Hey,
that,
hon.
we have just_fish_from_Davenport.
Hey, hon.
After that, we have Blake Woodson.
Hey, hon.
After that, we have Brittany.
Brittany. Hey, hon.
After that, we have Catch-Up Wizard.
Huh. Spelled K-A, eh?
Yeah.
Ketchup Wizard.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I specifically have a vendetta against ketchup. But that's the food, not Ketchup Wizard.
No, not Catch-Up Wizard. Also, that wizard, they can catch up.
Hey, hon.
After that, we have Thrill Ho.
Hey, hon.
I love that.
I love it.
That's a great name. Thrill Ho. Good for you. After that, we have Mother Amber across the fifth dimension.
All right, Mother Amber.
I like that
can't
one.
wait to do an episode on your cult that you're running.
And finally, our last Patreon of this cycle. Let's give a big shout out to Jethro Null.
Hey, hon.
Love that.
Let's go.
My dad, who is downstairs watching the baby right now as we
Yeah.
record this, big Jethro Tull fan. And I was raised on Jethro Tull.
Wow, that
I
explains
know.
a lot about
It
you.
explains so much about me in a way that is frightening.
Yeah.
Completely
I'm
frightening.
trying to think about what my dad listened to. My dad listened to a lot of specials. My dad was big
You
into
like the
ska.
specials,
my dad was big
and
into
the Rolling
ska,
Stones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rock and roll, punk rock, ska. That was my dad.
So with that, Mrs. P,
Yes?
is there anything else we'd like to say before we close out the episode that I doubt very many people have made to the very
They
end of? 'Cause it
people
was
are
over
going to
2
make
hours.
it to the end. Our listeners appreciate that they're going to get their whole house clean.
Yep.
They're going to get all their spreadsheets done. They're going to walk their dog.
Yep.
They're going to do all kinds of fun shit while they listen to this very long episode.
Yeah.
Also, support your local libraries. Get a library card, y'all.
We should have a code word for people who made it all the way to the end of the episode, who made it to this moment right here.
If you made it to the end, we got to pick a little devil emoji in the Patreon of the episode, like the
I
comment
feel like
section.
that would already happen. would already happen. We should just pick another random thing.
I don't know.
How about we'll just say Wolverine? Just
Wolverine?
write Wolverine. That means that you made it all the way to like the past 2 hour mark.
Yeah.
If you hit Wolverine. So with that, on the comments of both the Patreon and on YouTube and on all the other fun places, thank you guys for everybody who supports us across everything. Thank you guys so much for all of the nice comments and the messages and everything else that we do. Thank you so much for your reviews on iTunes and other different places. Those 5 stars that you give us everywhere really add up to bringing more people into the Pearlmania downline.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys every single day, and we look forward to recording our episodes for you on a weekly basis. And we will see you Sunday for audio, Tuesday for the Patreon video, and Friday for the YouTube. That's our content schedule. You're the best. We love you.
Too many frauds and too many scammers that we wish weren't real. Too many cons and too many spammers, and we're starting to feel like we've got too many tabs open. It's too many tabs. Remember to smile.